This hangout is live on air. Go ahead, Ian. Good morning, good evening. Good morning, good evening, wherever you are, across the world, across the nation. I am not George Norrie, and this is not Coast to Coast AM.
I am not Jim Fetzer, and this is not The Real Deal.
I am not Linda Moulton Howe, and this is not whatever the heck she's into.
Earth Files, yeah.
That'll do.
I was waiting for you to say Patricia Steer.
I could have done that.
All right, welcome everybody. This is our little soiree. We call it Conspiracy or Not. Here we come. It is Friday, 7 o'clock. It is June 16th, and it has been one hell of a week. How have you guys been?
Good. How are you guys been this week?
Handling it.
Busy.
Well, it's been an insane week in the news, hasn't it?
Absolutely.
I think that's an understatement.
It's been an insane week on YouTube with drama and some really interesting revelations. It's been an insane week for the news. We're going to try to hash some of that shit out. And listen, you guys, tonight we have open slots. We're going to examine the Dave Acton, George Webb, and the Grenfell Tower and the DC baseball shooting. And that, that the DC baseball shooting, we were told that a Representative Steve Scalise was shot. We need your help. It's been a busy week, and we appreciate the comments that everybody leaves us. We get as much out of the comments as hopefully that you get out of our show. So slots, as it happens, lots have happened this week. We have slots open. We're going to welcome anybody who wants to come in and talk to us. If you know something about the subjects we're talking about, feel free to say so in the chat box, and we'll be pretty happy to go and send you a link. In most cases, depending on who you are, of course. We've had some bad experiences. If we know who you are, we recognize you, you're in. If you're new, probably not, but maybe. We'll see about that. Depend on who you are. No sock puppets. If you don't have any content, if you don't have an About tab on your YouTube channel, chances are we're just going to say no thanks. Anyway, a lot has happened this week, and honestly, it's much better when we have multiple sets of eyeballs and brains looking in all directions. This problem that we all face is so much bigger than any one person can tackle. So tonight we've got open space, and if you know something, like I said, let us know in the chat box, and we'll see if we can get you in here to talk about it. So this is an open forum, and we want to use the power of the many. We are, by the way, we are strong individuals. This is a message I want to put out that probably most people are somewhat aware of, but I just want to remind you, even though it's, stating the obvious, we are strong individuals, and we are stronger as a group. So we want to take advantage of the power of the human voice tonight. So with that, I turn it over to Amy and Ian, and we'll say hello again. And how's everybody doing? I see we've got Blue Blood Guitar. Big P99 is here with us. Illusion Shattered. Hello, everybody. Thanks for being here. So let's get the show going. What have you guys been up to lately, and what do you know?
Well, I will say I've been struggling with a headache again today, but I'm going to try to make it through the show. I've been fascinated by some of the psyops that have come out, some of the stuff, in particular the shooting in Washington, but also the shooting in, I guess it was San Francisco with the UPS.
UPS. I haven't even looked at that at all.
Yeah, that one I just got the impression that maybe we had a clue that Las Vegas was going to get something, only because the media says this guy knew Big Mike, and they started interviewing him, and in the interview he said, yeah, we called him the Big Samoan, which isn't, Big Mike, because the media was going on about how he was called Big Mike. And I went, Big Samoan, wait a minute, didn't Hunter S. Thompson have something about his attorney, the 300-pound Big Samoan in Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas? So I thought maybe. Maybe.
Yeah.
That one slipped by me.
Possibly just a coincidence, but yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting, to say the least.
The fact that, the media was being so adamant that everybody called him Big Mike. And here's this guy yapping going, yeah, we call him the Big Samoan. And I'm like,
yeah, that's kind of odd.
That's not even similar, except for the big part. So, yeah, I don't know.
Well, I've been trying to wrap my head around this London fire, right?
Oh, yes.
And the more I look into it, the more complicated and confused I become, because, fires happen, but the way that it burned was very suspect, because it was engulfed, and it was just like a piece of paper going on fire, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, apparently there's a lot of talk about this gazillion-pound renovation. I don't remember how much, but it was quite a bit. And the people are suggesting that what they put up was something that, rather than being fire retardant, was something fire encouraging.
Almost the opposite. Yeah, exactly.
Yes,
that's my point. And it went up so quickly.
Exactly. I mean, things don't go up like that. And I'm giving some probability to there having been no one in the building at all. It's being
they said there was minimum occupancy in the building as well, so that's suspect right away.
Yep.
But you're probably right. There was probably no one in that building.
Yeah, I don't think anyone actually.
I think there were people in that building, didn't you guys?
We saw people in the windows, and we saw, and apparently we didn't see anybody jump out, but apparently there were reports people were jumping out.
Well,
I did see the video where people were in the window.
Illusion Shattered just said that Big Mike was also from the movie The Blind Side, and I'm sorry to derail what you guys were talking about. The movie The Blind Side, I don't remember seeing.
Yeah, that one I'm not familiar with.
That's Big Mike. Yeah.
The Blind Side.
So
that with, and what, I don't know anything about the film.
So back to the fire, we did see footage of people in the windows from multiple angles and multiple sources.
Right. So, yeah.
Well, there may have been humans in the building. I just wonder whether there was anybody that actually lived there.
Well, speaking of living there, we've seen that what appears to be a crisis actor, the young, and he's from, congratulations on Conchi. He did a very good video there exposing that.
Yeah. Yep.
PD, what was it? PD Kaku or something?
Peaky.
Yeah. Peaky.
Which is a really odd name to begin with. It's got to be a nickname, right?
I don't know.
Who the hell would name their kid Peaky?
I don't
Anyway.
know. Probably a nickname. I mean, we can go have a look at Conchi's video. I think he did a great job. He sussed that guy out right away. You know, Conchi, he's a highly suspicious individual, and
Yes, he is.
And in this case, it turned out to be advantageous because he was he was suspicious that the guy's story was a little bit too good to be true.
Right.
This is the dreadlock guy. For those that are listening, we're talking about there was an interview given on the street by a young man. What we ought to do is try to find that. Somebody, once you guys see if you can find it, let's do a screen share and show that interview, the BBC guy. Or we could just go over to Conchi's. Hi, Bella. We could just go over to Conchi's channel and pull that up. And I'm not sure if Conchi plays the clip. I think he does, of the guy talking. But he sounds like a conspiracy theorist, man. He's like, look, I ain't even fucking with the government. And then the woman reporter says, I'll apologize for your language. And then somehow it makes it on air. It doesn't get cut out. It's one of those interviews that makes it, it gets published. I don't know if it's on their website or if it went out on a broadcast. I don't know.
He swore twice during that interview.
Yeah, a couple times, I think. Several.
Yeah, he swore earlier on, too. He said, fuck.
Are you guys looking for that?
Yeah, I'm going to go find it, I won't be able to play the sound, though. That's the problem.
Well, I don't have sound capabilities at all here.
So The Blind Side, I think I remember now, because Illusion Shattered is saying that was the Sandra Bullock movie, true story about her adopting a black kid. He returns to play for the Ravens and won the Super Bowl.
Okay.
Huh.
Yeah.
Interesting. Thanks for that, Illusion Shattered, because we're looking for clues right now. We think that this Big Mike, or at least Amy does, thinks that this Big Samoan or Big Mike might be a clue to the next event, potentially.
I'm just saying, when you see that kind of discrepancy, oftentimes it's a pointer.
I was just thinking, if it's they called him the Big Samoan, just for the sake of the show, I'll repeat what Amy and I were talking about on Skype a little while ago. That I was thinking that Hawaii might be a target because Samoa is an island in the Polynesian Islands, and Samoa is a country in the Polynesian Islands, and Hawaii is culturally very, very Polynesian.
Very similar, yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
But it's a long way away. They're a long way from each other. But
yeah, they are.
Culturally, same with Fiji. Aren't they culturally similar?
Yeah.
The Big P99, is this a joke? Just said, hi all, I just got my building insurance today. I live in a block of 8 flats near Newcastle, 300 plus miles from London. Terrorism insurance, $6.51.
Oh my gosh.
Really?
Being sarcastic, probably. That's what she thinks. It's an insurance scam, which is basically what I think too. This place was burned down on purpose.
That was
so that they could collect the money.
Oh, pardon me.
Makes a big difference when you're trying to pay a bill. 651 pounds versus £6.51.
Pearl Harbor Part 2 says Blue Blood. Maybe. Well, we're going to be keeping a close eye on the chat box, you guys. We've got a few more people watching now, and I just want to remind you, if you know about the subjects we're talking about tonight, say so in the chat box. And if you would like to come in here and talk to us about it, we are wide open this evening. So tonight is all about you. We're going to be focusing a lot on the chat box. We'll be engaging you guys a lot tonight, and we're going to try and hash out some of the shit that has happened this week. So, the power of the human voice is what we're doing here now, right? We're trying to put ourselves out there, communicate with each other, wake people up, etc., etc. And
Yep.
about what I said earlier, that we are powerful beings, powerful people, and we are more powerful as a group. The power of the human voice is kind of an amazing thing if you know how to use it. I'll give you a couple of examples. Once I was out traveling out of state, and I usually have my dinner at the bar because I'm usually traveling alone, and it's a good way to get quick service because the bartender is always right there. You don't have to wait for the waiter. You get to interact with other people. Kind of hard to do when you're at a table. And so I'm sitting at the bar, and the bar was absolutely crowded. The whole restaurant was absolutely crowded. And I usually order a filet for dinner. And most restaurants will give you the choice of a 6-ounce or an 8-ounce, or a 6-ounce or a 9-ounce. And I usually go for the large one, all right, because I work hard and I'm hungry. So I get this steak, and my food comes, and it just looks really small. It just doesn't look like an 8 or a 9-ounce. It looks like a 5 or a 6. And so I called the waitress over, and power of the human voice, man. I started complaining, and she said, "Do you want to see the manager?" I said, "Yeah." By this time, her and I went back and forth a few times about the size and whatever, and I've gotten the attention of a couple of people in my near vicinity. So the manager finally comes, and she starts giving me a little bit of the runaround, saying, "Oh, this is the size, And I said, "No, I travel all the time. I'm very familiar with 6-ounce, 9-ounce. I know that there's no way." And I'm just giving her a hard time. I'm not raising my voice. I'm not cursing, but still I've got the attention of 5 or 6 people in my near vicinity. And she actually said, steaks, they cook down, they shrink. And I said, absolutely not. This is a filet. Filets are the leanest cut of meat. Filets don't shrink. I cook filet at home. I buy fillets all the time. So she finally got tired, and by now she realizes how many people are listening. And she offered me a plate of filet medallions and a pile of mushrooms to make up for it. So point is, speak up, speak out. You know what I mean? It didn't take much. A few words out of my mouth, and bam, there's an extra plate of food. And I'll give you another example. I was hanging out with Jerry Cthulhu in one of his hangouts. Hey, Matt. And he was talking about how you can get like free cable for a couple of months. And what you do is you call your cable company and you complain about the price, and you talk about leaving, and you go wishy-washy, back and forth. You play with them a little bit, and you're like, it's just, I don't watch it that much. Most of the channels are crap, blah, blah, blah. It's really expensive. Maybe throw out the word Netflix a few times. And you'll be surprised at how, and by the way, he specifically said, and I know this to be true, and I've experienced it with my cell phone company, and I've also gotten free cable. What you want is the customer retention department. Because once you find yourself in the customer retention department, you've already burned the ear off of somebody on the other end of the phone, and they've handed you off, and they're pretty well convinced that they're going to lose you. Customer retention department, they have a lot more leeway and power to give you, a free month service, or 2 or 3 months service, or 50% off of your bill, to keep you as a customer.
Right.
Right.
So again, it's the power of the human voice. Just wanted to stress that.
I've actually done customer retention. I was a person that would call up customers who haven't in a while, and if they were upset with the service or whatever, I'd give them something complimentary or help them out. Give them a great deal.
Yep, that's how it works.
Hey, look who's here. It's Free Bethlehem. Hey, Free Beth, did you fix your email, or did you fix your About tab? We have open slots tonight, so if you know about the subjects we're talking about, say so in the chat box. Amy, Ian, keep an eye on it. Help me keep an eye on the chat box. If anybody wants to come in here and talk to us about this stuff,
I'm doing the best I can, but I
Okay.
can't promise a whole lot with this headache. Okay, I already missed free Bethlehem. So
Okay. Well, so you guys, I assume that I know that Amy, you've seen it. Ian, did you see the video I put up last night? It
So
was
your tree falling over?
no, that was this morning. You sent and we were talking in Skype last night, and you sent me that article about Canada and the blasphemy
Right.
bill.
Oh yeah, I've seen that. Yeah.
Well, literally within about an hour of receiving that, hey Karen, literally within an hour of seeing that article, I got another article sent to me about Austria is banning the Islamic dresses for women and mandating a 12-month integration course. So
that is so insane.
it's, yeah. So, I mean, I just saw, because, Austria they're a westernized, right? They're part of the Western culture, the
Oh yeah,
Western world,
oh
right?
yeah.
Right? Of course they are.
Somewhat. Yeah.
Of course they are. I mean, they're not, Middle Eastern. They're not, Russian, Eastern, Japanese. I mean, Chinese, Eastern. They're mostly a westernized nation.
Yep.
So, it just struck me as beyond hypocritical that one Western country, and this happened, by the way, these articles came out within about 5 days of each other. Canada passes a blasphemy bill to silence critics of Islam, while almost simultaneously Austria bans Islamic dresses for women and mandates 12-month integration courses. Now, the article of the Austria ban, and Ian, you can leave that image up if you want, of the Grenfell Tower. We will come back to that in a moment, or that kid. We don't want to float our topics too quickly here. I just found it remarkably hypocritical that one side of the Western world is going to ban, it's going to ban Islamic criticism, Islamophobia. They're going to legislate Islamophobia. And on the other side, they're going to legislate, they're going to ban Islamic dresses for women. You know what I mean? It's completely discriminatory. Now, I don't know of the Constitution in Austria. Maybe they can get away with that. Maybe they don't have a First Amendment like we have. Apparently not, because that shit would never fly around here.
Yeah, I don't think so.
So I just found that to be remarkably hypocritical and a little bit on the insane side, and it just spun my head, right off my shoulders. So,
Well, I guess, they just see it as people are online going, kill all those damn Muslims, just blow them all out of here, right? Because of the Islamophobia hatred that they've created, right?
Yeah, they've created the.
I mean, that's the key word here, is that they've created, okay?
Precisely.
Because it all started with 9/11. Well, it started way before that, but it generally, in the public's mind, 9/11 was the trigger, right? To start this whole war on terror crap, right?
They're creating tension, or trying to. For those of us who see the BS for what it is, there's no tension. It's just, okay, this is all BS. But between, within the people who believe all this garbage that they've been spewing, they're going to see, hate the Muslims, don't hate the Muslims, hate the Muslims, don't hate the Muslims. And this is going to create a lot of tension in them. And they're eventually going to choose one side or the other, which, oh, golly gee, now we have divide, right? And sooner or later.
There's a lot of hatred online. Like, there is a lot of hatred going on towards just Muslim people in general, right?
Well, I don't. You have to ask yourself
how much that they're.
How much
there
of
is
that
a growing Islamophobia out there, right? Which is
much of
concerning.
that though is manufactured?
Exactly. I was going to say that, Amy.
Well,
You know,
I mean,
there's
it's all
probably a
these
lot of people out
manufactured.
there who are paid to look like they're
Yes.
spewing all this hatred. You know,
Yeah.
I
Well,
don't know
true.
anybody
Yeah, I mean,
personally.
that's
I don't
true.
know anybody personally
Yeah, an
that I would.
agitator.
Oh
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
they hate Muslims. I don't know anybody. Does anybody know anybody?
That hates Muslims? No.
Yeah. So I'm thinking most of that is agitation.
Right. Paid agitators.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to tell you.
But
They want it
still,
to
like
look
like Crazy Casey just said in the chat, but people still take the bait.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah. They sure do.
They sure do.
Because we're a population of followers, not leaders.
Well, we've been indoctrinated into that.
That's correct. And we could talk about John Taylor Gatto and how the education system turns people into followers and not
Yep.
leaders.
Yep.
But when it comes to this Barca thing here in Canada, it's been going on quite some time now. It's been very, very controversial, right? Because it takes away their human right to wear, you know, their cultural attire, so to speak, right? Whereas there's just people are all like, well, if you can't see their faces, it seems, you know, you don't even know who it is, right? You don't know, you know, it makes people kind of uneasy that you don't know who they are. You can't see their face, right? That's the issue itself.
Well, I guess I don't understand why that's an issue.
Well, just because you can't see the person's face and they're covering up their face, and people
That has nothing to do with whether or not they're
freaked out about everybody around the corner being evil, right? Because of all the manufactured terror they've
well, yeah, I
done
can
to the
understand.
population. you know,
I understand that in that sense, but I'm just sitting there. As long as the person is not behaving unethically, who cares what they're wearing, whether you can see their face or not?
well, no, I'm not advocating this at all, Amy. I'm just saying.
No, I
that
know,
that's the
but
way that-
I'm just-
that's the way
I'm
that they're
just-
looking at it. You know, the
Right, and
bureaucrats
that's what I'm
and-
talking to, is how they're looking at it.
Right,
You know?
right. They're looking at it in black and white, and they're not realizing they're violating their oaths that they've sworn to. Right.
Well, if they've sworn to any, you know, it's just, to me, ethics.
Illusion Shattered just said they, the MSM, tell us there's hatred, but yet none of us know anyone who really hates.
Yeah.
No, I don't really know
Fantastic
anybody.
point. That's absolutely correct.
Yeah.
I mean, I've heard a lot of racist jokes and a lot of Muslim jokes, but
Hey,
I've
man.
never.
Yeah, jokes are jokes, man. It doesn't mean I hate
Yeah.
someone just because I laugh. And by the way, jokes, for the record, are not even, you know, what a lot of people would claim as racist jokes. Okay, they're not racist jokes. They're stereotypical. Okay?
Yes.
Jokes don't attack race. I mean, some of them probably do, okay? But for the mass majority, when, you know, folks are joking with each other about black people eating watermelon and fried chicken and, you know, all the you know, idiosyncrasies that come with a lot of jokes, and I didn't mean to single out black people. I just but you guys understand this is not racism, it's stereotyping.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so are you guys keeping up? Have you heard the latest on Venezuela?
No, what's the latest on Venezuela?
They just went from bad to worse. I assume you have an idea of how bad things were.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes. Yep.
Things in Venezuela just went bad to worse. I understand that protesters have set fire to the Supreme Court building.
Wow.
The latest I heard was so far, and I don't know if this is in the latest protest or if this is in total. I don't know. We can you know, search for articles if we want to. We got plenty of time. 67 killed and thousands injured in Venezuelan protests. Oh, and by the way, I wanted to come up here because Leo in the chat was saying, and I don't know if he's in Austria. Oh, you said Australia, Leo. Did you type Australia or does that autocorrect? Because we were talking about Austria. Here, okay. Earlier, Leo Wyson said Austria is in the same shit like the rest of Europe. And then down here, Leo said Australia, and I don't know if he meant Austria, but he's saying Muslims want to introduce safe zones and they want the taxpayers to pay for it. So that's just another divide and conquer tactic.
Yes.
Segregation. Yep.
It's another divide and conquer, because when you hear things like that Muslim immigrants, or in America, we have a big problem with, South American or Mexican immigrants, and they want to come here and they want to get welfare and benefits. And, when you hear about things, people come to your country, they don't want to integrate, they don't want to learn the language, and yet they want all the government handouts via the taxpayer. That pisses people off. So,
Yep.
and then the government bends over and gives it to them. And then that pisses people off.
Yep.
Like I said in my video last night, I do see a point in the Austrian ban as far as, well, I take issue on many levels, and I agree on one level only, about you're not going to get any benefits. They want this 12-month integration course if you expect to be an immigrant and receive benefits. So as part of that integration course, of course, you have to learn the language, which I said twice in the video. Look, nobody would disagree with that. Okay. That's just insane. You don't move to a whole completely different culture, different country where they speak a separate language and expect to spend the rest of your life not ever learning that language, and then go on to expect that country to support you. If you don't want, I mean, that's just retarded. That's insane. That's selfish. That's immoral. So I don't think anybody would disagree with that. And I mean anybody.
At least basic, at least a basic tongue, right? To at least communicate with people.
As far as the Austrian thing of the 12-month integration course, I take issue with that as well. First of all, and I was talking to Mom about this earlier, integration is not something that you really can learn. It's something that has to come from within. It's a personal motivation to join and be active in the community, to integrate with the new community.
Right.
I mean, you can, and by the way, who pays for this 12-month integration course? And the article didn't specify, is it an everyday course? Is it an all-day everyday course? Is it once a week? They didn't specify. They didn't say who's going to pay for it. Of course, I mean,
we are.
Well, the taxpayer, and we're talking about Austria now, so it's we is a problematic word there.
The people will, yeah.
Sure, the people will. So, again, I don't know the details, but a 12-month course may be asking a lot, even if it was once a week. 52 classes.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Now, look, in America, there's a long immigration process in order to become a full citizen. And it requires classes, and it requires learning the language. And it's probably very, very similar to what they're calling an integration course here, where you learn about the new culture, things you might not know. You know what I mean? Maybe debunk some myths. You might have heard some shit from the country you came from. Who knows?
Uh-huh.
But again, it doesn't specify who's going to pay for this course.
Right.
Now, I'm not necessarily opposed to some sort of immigration course. We have it here in America. You can't just be a citizen without going through and proving yourself. You got to know some American history. You got to speak our language, etc. So, I mean, there's that. I'll tell you what, let's pull up an article. Let's see what's going on with Venezuela real quick before we move on.
Here, I'll screen share
I'm
this.
curious. I only heard a snippet from, pardon the pun, from JSnip.
Yeah.
I got a video up here showing the carnage.
When is that a UN vehicle? When was this video posted, Ian?
I'm not sure.
country was supposed to have become a socialist paradise, but instead the government rules with tear gas and rubber bullets. Rafaela Requesens is a student representative.
Oh, look, it looks like they have paid protesters too.
In the streets.
Paid agitators.
Yep.
Wow. You know, if you just hit the mute button, you couldn't tell where this was.
Lo que podría rescatar de toda esta experiencia política no es nada bueno. O sea, el pueblo venezolano, lo que puedo
Can you
decir
turn that up a little
es
bit, Ian?
hasta el
Just in another language.
es la manera en que han humillado al venezolano. Lo han humillado, lo han tratado como si nada, se siguen poniéndole que nada pasa cuando no es real, cuando ellos también son víctimas de Lampa, cuando ellos también despiden a sus seres queridos, no solo en el aeropuerto, sino en el cementerio.
Many Venezuelans have chosen to emigrate, with 1.5 million leaving the country in the last 20 years. And this number seems to be rising sharply. Petare, one of the largest slums in Latin America. The suburb is the constituency of the young politician Miguel Pizarro. Many residents here have put their hope in the 29-year-old. There is a lack of food, of medication, and of a future.
Que trata por igual al que más tiene y al que menos tiene, porque la crisis nos ha venido igualando. Y a uno que es autoridad, que es electo, que es dirigente con legitimidad de origen y que aquí nos dieron un voto de confianza, este tipo de historias, este tipo de episodios dolorosos, por un lado nos llenan de dolor, sin duda, pero por otro lado también nos llenan de motivación a luchar para que más nunca esto lo vivamos.
According to a study, Venezuelans lost an average of 8 kilos in weight in 2016. In times such as these, it is Pizarro's duty as a parliamentarian to bring his constituents food. And to listen. This family has lost a daughter because important drugs are unavailable. A fate which the young politician knows from his own experience. His sister developed a brain tumor. Due to a shortage of drugs, she had to leave the country to seek treatment.
Nuestra gran obligación, nuestra gran labor, nuestro rol es que este modelo más nunca vuelva a gobernar en este país y por eso estamos luchando en las calles con exigencias claras de voto, de reconocimiento de la asamblea, pero sobre todo para este tipo de sitios, este tipo de casos, que haya un canal humanitario de medicinas y alimentos para que no muera nadie por falta de insumos y para que el hambre, que es una cosa del día a día y cotidiana en estos sectores, no siga siendo la tragedia que toda la familia sufre.
Venezuela is statistically miserable, boasting the world's highest rate of inflation and one of the highest murder rates. Bread queues snake through the streets. Hard to believe in a country with the world's largest oil reserves. Food is scarce and expensive. Child mortality is rising. Desperation. How did Venezuela reach this point? Hugo Chavez promised great things when he proclaimed socialism of the 21st century. He brought in petrodollars and nationalized on a grand scale. 4 years after his death, and the wheels have come off, brought about by mismanagement, corruption, and falling oil prices. Under his successor, Nicolás Maduro, the country has been brought to the brink of ruin. The government has lost control of the crisis, but they put the blame on foreign countries, capitalists, and the opposition.
Esta gente no quiere paz. Ellos se metieron en un callejón sin salida y nos quieren meter a todos nosotros en su callejón, en su barranco.
The majority of the people have had enough, but Maduro ignores their criticism and wants to dissolve the opposition-dominated parliament.
So yeah.
Okay, so I'm looking at this article here. Let's switch screens. Just a second here.
And by the way, this is for fair use purposes, educational and informative
commentary
purposes
and satire.
and satire.
That's right.
How to avoid a bloodbath in Venezuela. President Nicolas Maduro won't go down without a fight, but tightening the screws on his would-be accomplices could help save the country from a total collapse.
So he said right away that he brought in the petrodollar and nationalized the. So that was probably the beginning of the end for them.
You know, it's just hard to know what's organic anymore. I'm looking at these guys. This is a total photo op. This is, I mean, these protesters are wearing helmets, gloves, backpacks, face masks. You know, that just doesn't look too organic to me. It looks, I mean, of course, well, I don't know about staged and planned. Yeah, staged, planned. You know, we have our paid provocateurs in this country and in Europe. We know that that's a real thing. So who knows? Who knows? Who knows? We'll probably.
I heard the ousting of him was a coup to begin with. So with the, you know.
With Venezuela's economy in shambles and popular discontent on the rise, it seems increasingly likely that authoritarian rule of President Nicolas Maduro will come to an end sooner than he would like. It's by no means clear how that will happen. One hopes for a peaceful transition to a democratic rule. One fears a bloodbath. Which one? One fears a bloodbath. Maduro has shown no inclination to restore democratic rule on his own. Over the past year, his government has blocked elections, jailed opposition leaders, cracked down on protests throughout the country, including by prosecuting hundreds of civilians in military courts. Last month, a secret recording surfaced in multiple news outlets of a group of Venezuelan generals at a regional command center wrestling with this question, quote, "There will come a moment when we'll have to use them," end quote. One says, referring to the use of snipers during street demonstrations, quote, "Because the president isn't going to stay just with the initial phase of his plan for responding to anti-government protests." Because the president isn't going to stay with just his initial phase. So they're fearing that the president is going to step up the policing, the cracking down on the protests and the opposition.
Yes. I can see it.
Quote, "If you tell me to go out there," another general responds, "I will do it. I will accomplish the mission, but I know tomorrow we might not have the backing for any mistake that's made, and that's what we're worried about." So they're worried about, you know, popular support. More specifically, he then says they fear they can no longer count on the Attorney General's office to protect them. The day may come, quote, "the day may come when any of us could find ourselves in jail." Or worse, I suppose. And that was posted a day ago. World News, The Guardian, refugees, lives, Brazil's refugees policy need, racial overhaul. Al Jazeera. What's behind the turmoil? BBC News, tension in Venezuela. Venezuela on the brink. Let's look at this one.
Well, I think it was about a year ago, at least, I was seeing articles about them people eating out of garbages and stuff.
Dude, they've already gone through the cats and the dogs, man.
Yeah. That was like a year ago. So.
The oil-rich South American nations should be prospering. Duh. Instead, it stands on the edge of economic and humanitarian abyss.
Do you suppose that this too is manufactured? Not saying that there aren't people there that are struggling, but that the whole problem was created for reaction to then bring in some solution.
Well, I'm sure it was.
You know, very,
That's pretty much how the
very,
world works, anyways.
you know, they're really seeking for people to actually rise up and revolt. They really want that. Because then they can justify
Because
what they get to do in those cases.
yeah, aren't they a part of the UN though, Venezuela? They're a member, aren't they? I'm pretty sure.
I don't know.
Probably, but
I don't know.
Because if they're not, well, then they might have problems. More problems. Wasn't it Hugo Chavez, the one that said when Bush was there, you could smell sulfur when he left?
Yeah.
Wasn't that him?
Yeah.
He left the smell of sulfur behind.
If I'm not mistaken, the gas station Citco, and I don't know if you have them up there in Canada, Ian.
Nope.
If I'm not mistaken, the gas company or gas and oil company Citco is Venezuelan run. It's out of Venezuela. You know, it's like Texaco. You know, that you can pretty much call that the Bushes, and you know, BP. We know who that is. So they are rich in oil and gas, that's for sure. There's no reason for those people to be starving and eating their cats and dogs and birds and pigeons.
It almost right.
You're breaking up, Ian. Say again.
It almost seems to me like the country's being sanctioned, right? The people are being like it's been done on purpose for some reason.
yes.
There's got to be something that they're not going along with. This new guy is not going along with, or something, right? Because you can't just say, like it said on there, it's just mismanaging of things. But
You know,
come on, like
here's a really poignant comment here from it looks like he's trying, the way he's, look at the chat box. I'm not even going to say that name. Bad is using zeros for O's.
bad motor finger.
Okay, got it. Right. Right. Okay. I see it now. He says, God forbid they allow an example of a socialist democracy with happy, secure citizens, and in parentheses, who then have enough breathing space to engage some critical thinking. Greetings from Scotland. Awesome, Scotland. Excellent. We haven't had any Scots in here before, so happy to have you. Thanks for that comment, and you're spot on. Absolutely spot on. I've said this before, man. You know, it's the black people in this country in the 50s, 60s, 70s, they had a phrase that they'd say, keeping a brother down, right? The man is keeping a brother down. That's exactly what they're doing, but they're doing it to the whole world. Because look, I'm an ingenious guy. I'm thrifty and crafty and creative. I've got tools, clever, smart. I can fix things. I can make things. I can invent things. But that's the last thing they want is people like me having the breathing space, as Bad Motorfinger says here. It's exactly right. They don't want you to have the time or any, surplus income to tinker in your garage. Like what's his name? Meyer, the Australian guy who invented the car that runs on water or hydrogen, right?
Right.
Yeah.
That's the last thing you want. You can't have a citizenry that has time, energy, a little bit of finances to go and tinker in the garage, or they're going to create better ways to run their house with less electricity, less water.
They're gonna rediscover for the umpteen jillionth time free energy, and at this point they can people can throw it out on the net and everybody can have it. You know, this is what they don't want. Because free energy spells the end of their power over us.
Crazy Casey says different countries are like different classes. They put the squeeze and bankrupt on one and watch everyone try to get in another. So that's, you know, again, I was going to say something about, you know, the immigration, you know, people leaving Venezuela and pouring into other countries, neighboring countries, who, by the way, are not a whole lot better off. I mean, they're pretty poverty stricken. The whole South American landscape is. I mean, I live in Atlanta, Georgia, man. I can tell you right now, I can go down to Home Depot at the drop of a hat and see 15, 20, 30, we call them Mexicans in general, but they're all South American, Latino. There could be 15 or 20 of them standing around, and I hire them on occasion when I'm doing jobs and I need an extra pair of hands. Day labor people. And they're from Honduras, they're from Nicaragua, they're from oh crap! It just left my head.
Argentina?
Argentina? No, yes, no, not Argentina. I haven't met one from Argentina.
Oh, okay. Bolivia?
No,
Oh,
no,
Peru.
that's south of. Well, no,
Venezuela.
no, Honduras,
Chile?
Nicaragua. These are all countries that are like just south of Mexico.
Belize.
Anyway, you get the point.
Yeah.
They're not just Mexicans. They're
Central America.
Central America. Thank you.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean South America. Okay. Ecuador. Thank you, Joanne. Yes, I have met some from Ecuador
Yeah.
and Honduras and Guatemala.
Guatemala.
All right, let's move on. There's been a lot of shit in the news lately. I don't even know where to start, man. I don't even know where to start. Most of it seems to be tied together. And we're being distracted. We're being divided and conquered further and further and further. The truth community took a hit this week. If you aren't paying attention, some of you listening may be familiar with the George Webb saga and his investigation into the Clinton Foundation, the DC scandal where they stole the nomination from Bernie, the Seth Rich murder, the Russian hacking. This is the rabbit hole that goes deep, deep, deep. And George Webb has been all over the internet, making the rounds, giving interviews on a lot of the talk shows, talking about his investigation. And then we all got hit with a brick in the face this week. Turns out he's fucking Dave Acton's brother. I mean, help me out here, because I have not followed the George Webb thing like real close, just loosely, kind of out of the corner of my eye. And I'm only mildly a fan of Dave Acton. I catch his videos on occasion. And then lately this week, I've been paying a lot more attention. Turns out Dave Acton is, he's some kind of character in and of himself. He's, I think, has worked for or worked with Department of Homeland Security. He's some kind of security expert. Got 2 master's degrees. Worked with I think some military intelligence or for military cybersecurity or something like that. I don't have all the details. Forgive me, Dave. Don't beat me up. Don't sue me. I'm just trying to figure this shit out, and it's a deep, deep rabbit hole, and it's got the whole truth community in an uproar over who to trust.
And he's also done some acting, I might point out.
Yeah, he's done some terrible B-list acting. I think he lives out in LA or something like that. So, I mean, look, practically everybody in LA either says they're an actor or is an actor.
Well, so, I went to LA hoping to become one, but that never happened.
You know, it might be a reason to be curious. It definitely doesn't prove anything.
True.
Dave Acton also seems to be extremely familiar with a lot of federal laws and protocols when it comes to emergency first response. And then, before the story broke that they were brothers, Dave Acton started attacking George Webb, and I couldn't figure out why. Like 2 weeks ago, Dave Acton starts putting out all these videos talking all this shit about George Webb. Okay. Cliff 567. I've watched George Webb since day 87 and only recently heard that George dumped the first 54 videos on his own. That's right. That's right. I heard about that too. Two young guys in the YMCA called Ryan and Alex said they witnessed bullet damage. One had a cap with Mason on it. Thanks for that, Brother Spartacus. Well, what? Oh, you talking the YMCA? Are we talking about the baseball shooting? The YMCA, which, see, I'm confused now because there's been so much shit this week. It was, right? It was right near the YMCA, I think, that baseball grounds where the shooting happened. Joanne, thank you. Dave says he is part of FEMA. So, I mean, I don't know. It's got the whole truth community in a freaking tizzy with this amazingly thick layers and layers of drama. Because Dave Acton puts out a video. He says, George is mentally unstable.
Yeah, I saw that.
He says, I cut him loose 2.5 years ago when he was going, paranoid, schizo, saying that the helicopters and the airplanes overhead are following him, and that he has his own line item on the, on the Homeland Security, watch list or some shit, and saying things, all kinds of stuff. He was calling me at 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, saying they're following me, blah blah blah, all this paranoid delusion stuff, talking tons and tons of shit about George. He's mentally unstable. He slept with my wife. Just
that sounds.
Now, one of the most recent ones I saw, Dave Acton puts out a video saying that Defango, this character Defango, who I know virtually nothing about, except I've seen some people bash Defango, and for the life of me, I can't remember who right now. I've seen an awful lot this week. But Defango turns out to be this weird character who's got multiple names. Pretty weird character. And now Dave Acton is like all on board, buddy with Defango, and wants him to help crowdsource this new investigation into Jason Goodman exploiting his brother. So 2 weeks ago, Dave Acton, oh, by the way, Dave Acton, if you know Dave Acton, forever, the guy is, he puts out a lot of conspiracy-based videos. He does a lot of prepping videos, and you can't be a prepper without being conspiracy-minded, right? Right? I mean, seriously. And then he starts talking shit about his brother, George Webb, being a weird, wild, those are not his words, a weird conspiracy theorist. He did say conspiracy theorist.
Yes, he did.
Attacking George on that basis, when I thought to myself, you got to be fucking kidding me.
Yeah.
So now he's looking to file maybe, I think, some federal lawsuit against Jason Goodman and this other person, this woman, who he's claiming is exploiting his brother's weakness, his mental instability. So, I mean, it's just a huge fucking distraction. It's confusing as hell. It's tied in with, I think, the shooting that happened in the ballpark, which might have been a real thing, staged partially, but also partially a real thing. And you guys know my feelings on this. I'm not an auto hoaxer, and I'm the last guy that says nobody died, nobody got hurt.
Well,
I think that somebody usually dies in these events.
I don't think that in these events anybody dies the way they say they died.
Yeah.
If anybody
I
dies.
agree. The way they say, with that disclaimer, I would agree.
Yeah.
But you guys know
And I
my
don't
position.
know that they necessarily kill people for these events during the events themselves. I think that they have sacrifices that they do.
Yeah, well,
Not there.
you mentioned that, Aaron, and then I think back and I think, well, I haven't seen any videos by anybody exposing the fake shooters other than Adam Lanza.
Karen is
Right?
asking, why would
Do you
you
know what I'm
ditch your
saying?
family online, though?
Do you know what I'm saying?
I'm sorry, Ian, say that again?
I haven't seen any videos that are come out exposing the shooter as a fake character other than Adam Lanza.
I haven't watched the video,
Not
but
late.
I think Red Silver has a video on it.
Well, I've seen stuff that suggests that this shooter might be a patsy.
That's what I mean.
As opposed to,
Yeah.
Well, if we look back in history,
non-existent. I don't think Adam Lanza existed.
No, he didn't.
I tend to agree.
That was a Photoshop thing. Yeah.
But this guy seems to have existed, but was a patsy, which is different. And as far as I know, now maybe I don't have all the data, but as far as I know, the really evil, horrible thing that he said was Trump is a traitor and should be in jail. Now, if that's what we're counting as, hate speech, as stuff that suggests you're dangerous, how many people would fall into that category? That's kind of unnerving if that's what they're using to suggest this man.
Well, we haven't really got into the baseball field thing yet, but I've got something to say about that whole psyop.
Yeah, we are going to get into that because I think it's related.
That's a left-right psyop going on right there. So
I think it's related, but I wanted to say if we go back in history and we look at some of the major events, like for instance the Kennedy assassination, the Martin Luther King assassination, what happened to those patsies? They're dead, right?
Yes, they are. Yes, they are.
I mean, the Lord Commander might demand a death for everyone. Who knows?
They set up Oswald to be the patsy, and what'd they do? They fucking killed him. Of course they killed him.
Yep.
They can't have a trial. And the guy said on camera, I'm a patsy. They knew they couldn't take that guy to trial.
Very true.
Yep.
Motorfinger, no. My browser is fine. He said, has anyone else's browser died when George Webb was mentioned?
You're cut off.
Zach Hopkins, hey buddy, how you doing? Hope you survived them storms, and if you haven't, I've got a video. My neighbor's trees blew down. There's 2 massive oak trees blew over in my neighbor's yard. Oh, I did want to talk about that. Shit, there's so many things to talk about. I'm afraid of getting too far derailed. I'll make this quick and brief. Last night we had a massive storm come through, and I'm watching the Weather Channel, watching the radar, and you can see the storm front roll in. It's moving at a typical speed, 40 miles an hour, maybe plus or minus 50 miles an hour. And you can see this big thing roll in like storms often do, at typical speed. And then I saw a very thin green line. It looked like a storm front, but it was super thin. And it moved from left to right across my screen, across the radar on channel 212 on Comcast in Atlanta. And it moved like 5 times faster than the storm cell itself, than the storm front. This thin green line went waving across my screen like real fast. Like I wish I had like a Roku or something. I could have paused and back up and recorded that, because it really caught my eye. And I said something to Nancy. I said, did you see that? What the hell was that? And then, man, we got fucking hit. And I ain't kidding you. It was whiteout conditions outside. Rain was blowing horizontally. Rain was going straight sideways last night. Ask Zach Hawkins. He's in the chat. He lives right up the road from me.
Incredible.
So you get tornadoes there, don't you? Lots.
We do get tornadoes in Georgia, and it's not uncommon.
Yeah. You guys get some crazy weather patterns anyway, right?
Well, yeah, but that doesn't sound like any natural weather pattern. I'm sorry.
It looked like an energy wave rolled across the landscape. And I mean, it rolled across all of Georgia within about a second, maybe a second and a half.
Yeah,
the entire state of Georgia, it just went right across the whole screen.
That is not natural. That is something manufactured.
I'm thinking, you know, whatever storm was coming anyway might have been pulsed with some energy to make it stronger. I don't know.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's what's been worrying me a lot lately is how far are they advanced now in their HARP and stuff? Are they advanced in that technology, right?
Well,
we don't even know.
I forget what year it was, but if you remember, what year was it when the Chinese hosted the Olympics? Anybody remember? Help me out in the chat box. What year was it? Doesn't matter. They guaranteed the weather. Do you remember that?
Yeah, they made it rain so they could hide the smoke, the smog. They even called it a rainmaker.
Wow.
Zach says you didn't even get rain. What? Remind me, Zach, what town? Because I think you actually, now when you say you didn't get any rain, were you at work or because you work over on the other side of town, but you live like, what, 10, 15 minutes from me, right? By the way, we haven't met personally and we live really close to each other. So I know there's a 20-second delay. I'll just wait for your reply. 08, thank you, Blue Blood. Chinese hosted the Olympics in 08. Zach is asking if it showed storms up my way. And Zach, you have to remind me exactly. You live around Loganville area? I mean, because I thought you were close enough that you should have been hit with whatever I got hit with. Bad Motorfinger says that sounds like the heterodining explained. I've never heard that. Heterodining explained well by Weather War 101. Check this channel if you're seriously interested in weather manipulation. Weather War 101. Woodstock. You live in Woodstock? Okay, I knew you would. You worked over there. So if you live in Woodstock, the storms came through. They would have came past you first. Because last night the storms were blowing west to east. I think. Jesus, really? I can't remember. I think they were. Yeah, they were. Because this energy wave, this green thing that I saw, it went from left to right, and it like came from behind the storm front and exceeded the speed of the storm front. Was on the other side of the screen before I could say, "What the hell was that?" Okay, so you're about 40. So you're in Woodstock. You're about 40 miles from me. Zach says, "Holy shit, we just debunked the Weather Channel." Oh, Blue Blood was asking. He thinks it's 2012. Okay, it's not important. The important part was that the Chinese did, in fact, say that they would guarantee the weather. So that kind of gives you a little clue as to what they can do and when they could do it. They sent it just to Rufus neighborhood. I don't know. They must have. My neighborhood got hit pretty hard, man. We lost trees all over the place. Big ones. So, I tell you what, because I know that there's a bunch of people watching right now who maybe didn't see the video. Just for shits and giggles, I'll show you guys a quick picture. I won't play the video, but I'll just show you. Let's see. I don't really want to leave that page, so I'll go to do. I don't know. Come on, bandwidth. Let's go. People are waiting. Here it comes. Okay, so this is image of my neighbor's house. This is my backyard. Lost the main section off of my peach tree. Come on, buffer already. And then here's where I start walking next door. The neighbors to my left lost 2 gigantic trees. Here we go. 2 massive oak trees came down. And those 2 front bedrooms in this blue house, blue-gray house, that's where the kids sleep. And it clipped the corner of the house just barely, but I mean, you know, their kids sleep right there. And these are big-ass oak trees. All right, so there's that. Just wanted to share that real quick for anybody who hasn't seen the video. All right, back to important shit. Anyway, yeah, man, I'm not kidding. I saw the strange thing on Weather Channel. It just blew me away. Art Bass, haven't seen you in a while. Art Bass is from Russia. He's in Moscow, if I'm not mistaken. We got the whole world watching.
Yeah.
Well, awesome that.
That one time, yeah.
Okay, so honestly, what do you guys think? What do you make of this Dave Acton thing? Okay, he comes out, he attacks George Webb, really rakes him over the coals. This is about 2 weeks ago, almost daily, couple of videos per day. Dave Acton is just bashing the crap out of George Webb. And up until then, I thought George Webb was doing great. Everyone's saying, oh, George Webb, he's doing this great research, right? He's making the rounds, interviews. And then, you know, the beginning of the week, Dave comes out and says, oh, yeah, by the way, this is my brother. And then George Webb makes a video and says, yeah, we are brothers.
Yeah, I saw that too.
And I've heard Dave Acton's involved with InfoWars, I heard.
Yes, I think he's done some reporting for InfoWars. Dave Acton sounds like this guy's got his fingers in a lot of pies.
There's some guy commenting on a video there about this, saying that they're both down in South America and they're working together here. There's another guy, H.A. Goodman. Do you know him, Aaron? Have you seen his work on all this?
H.A. Goodman? Are you talking about this Jason Goodman guy?
No, it's H.A. Goodman.
H.A. Is that not the same as Jason Goodman? Or, I mean, I know that H.A. is not a, you know.
H.A. It's H.A. Goodman channel.
And that's not Jason Goodman?
No,
Okay.
I don't think so. H.A. So.
Well, I'm not familiar.
He does some really good work about all of this going on. Got some good insight. You might want to check that out.
Blue Blood says he's surprised Global Agenda hasn't chimed in on the Seth Rich thing yet. Jay, if you're not familiar, we haven't heard from Blue Blood. I mean, Global. We haven't heard from Mark in, what's it?
A week.
At least a week. He hasn't put out any videos. We haven't seen him on Skype. Have had no communication with him. So he's been incognito for at least a week. And I'm also surprised. If he was around, he'd be all over this. So Crazy Casey says Acton is a fool. If he is, he's clever like a fox. You know, he's that kind of fool. He's, I mean, he acts like a goofball on a lot of his videos with his commentary. You know, this is Dave, snarky CIA troll Acton, right? And at the end of his video, he says, oh, hey, and by the way, if I offended you, I'm just kidding. This is my art. Okay, so he's a silly fucker. We get that. And we know that that's, you know, a persona that he puts on for his channel.
Right.
But how much of a fool is he really? Because lately, his last videos, when he, who is he? God dang it. God, I wish I could remember more. I've seen so much. Jason Goodman, when he goes and threatens Jason Goodman with federal lawsuits. If you haven't seen that video, the guy's got some smarts. He knows a little bit about what he's talking about, at least a little bit, if not a lot. His last 3 or 4 videos that he put out yesterday or today, I don't peg the guy as a fool. Act on, acting, play on words, act on, acting a fool.
Yeah.
Acting. Dave's acting.
Well, he's done acting, and maybe it's act on. You know, maybe that's a play on words he's using there. Act on.
Dave acting. He's acting. That's funny.
He set the stage for this. Joanne says he set the stage for this a few months ago with the "my brother slept with my wife" stuff. Wait a minute. He didn't say that a few months ago. That was like last week.
Yeah, it was.
Then George hit the scene. So wait a minute, Joanne, are you sure Dave Acton said something about when you? Okay, hang on. He set the stage with the whole "my brother slept with my wife" stuff. Oh, okay. So he didn't say a few months ago that George was his brother. He just talked about his brother sleeping with his wife. Joanne, is that what you're saying? And by the way, we have open slots. If you guys know more about these subjects than we do, I'm happy to bring you in here, and we'll send you the link, and you can come and get on the panel and talk to us. Joanne, if you would like to come in here, say so in the chat, and I'll be happy to get you in here. And again, I know there's a 20-second delay, so I'm going to give you a moment to say yes, please, or I'll be happy to join you, because last thing you dropped was right. I assume you agreed with something I said 20 seconds ago. So it's kind of hard to have a conversation, you know, in the live setting when there's a 20-second delay with the chat box. So again, if you would like to come in, if you know more about Dave Acton or George Webb, because I have not been following this like too closely, then all the hate poured out towards Webb. It's probably he did. Yes, I right. Hey, Sandy. So yeah, I guess he was arrested for DOI. That's what I heard. This means he's going to have to show up for court there. Yeah, that's what that means. George Webb put out a video today, I think, talking about how he was questioned / interrogated, you know, you use your own words, by the FBI. Okay, thank you. You don't want to come in? Okay. I'm right. Dave did not say George was his brother a few months ago. He did say his brother slept with his wife back in April. Thank you. I didn't know that. Thank you for that. Okay, so you're right. He set the stage for this months ago. Christos Mandalore. Well, thanks for that, Joanne. That's interesting, because I mean, I don't catch all of Dave's videos, and I didn't know that he was talking about his brother sleeping with his wife back in April, which would indicate setting the stage. And then, yeah, you know, and then he recently went on the attack on George Webb, and then it came out that George Webb was his brother, and then I guess it turns out George Webb was the guy that slept with his wife. So, I mean, you know, that's why we titled this show tonight as "A Tangled Web We Weave," because this
sounds like a soap opera.
It's ridiculous. But, you know, this cuts to the chase. This because George Webb was supposedly investigating the whole Seth Rich thing, the Awan brothers, the Clinton Foundation, all that shit, right?
Right.
So then we just had this shooting in the park, in the ballpark.
Right.
And that was Representative Steve Scalise, who, if I'm not mistaken, I understand was anti-elite pedophile. Anti-elite pedophile.
Okay.
What I'm hearing through the grapevine, and I can't like read all these comments and you know have a full-on conversation at the same time. I've got to pause and see what people are saying. Wait a minute. Arrested for sleeping in his truck without a permit? Cliff, is that what happened? I mean, everybody says he got arrested for DUI. I mean, if he was sleeping in his truck because he was drunk, I've known people who got arrested because they were sleeping in their car when they were drunk, and they got arrested.
My brother-in-law did because the keys were in the ignition.
That's right. The keys are in the ignition, and they call. That's all they need. They'll drag you off. So Joanne says, and now all videos are deleted. By the way, he's also had Morning Mayan giving relationship advice at that same time. Made me cringe a bit. The same, and Zach Hawkins said, the same Morning Mayan that Dave chummed around with. Huh. So anyway, I'm hearing from Liz Crokin. You guys know who that is, right?
Yeah, I've heard about her, and I've got uncomfortable feelings is what I pick up. Like she's part of some operation. That's just my feeling. I could be entirely wrong.
In what sense?
I don't know. Just that there's something that is scripted behind her. Does that make sense?
Well, I don't get that sense when I listen to her, but go on.
Well, a lot of times we won't get that sense when we listen to people, and then later on go, oh, holy Toledo, when things come out. I don't know what there is more to go on. I just know that was my initial impressions. That's all I can say.
All right. I sense a lot of passion in her when I listen to her interview and listen to her talk. I'm going to go see if I can find this. Let's see. It was an SGT report where she gave one of her most recent interviews. It's an SGT report. The title is "This is Why the Deep State is Targeting Trump." Now, she's talking about, in this interview, I would encourage anybody who's interested in this story to go and listen to this interview, this SGT report. Now, I'm going to go ahead and do a screen share now because I'm going to try and find, they play a video clip in this video somewhere, and I'm going to try and find it. Jeff Sessions smacks the hand of Joe Biden as he goes to reach for this little girl. You've seen that?
Yeah, I've seen this, yeah.
Okay,
I've
well,
definitely seen that.
Well, in the meantime, Liz Crokin is talking about Donald Trump being also anti-elite pedophilia. She's saying that the stories about Donald Trump being on Jeffrey Epstein's airplane or island or whatever, the Lolita Express, she's saying there's no proof of that whatsoever. Here it is. Here it is.
Yeah, there may not be proof, but I'll tell you, his name was in Epstein's little book, for whatever that's worth.
Okay. Well, there's a lot of people, and it's not just Liz Crokin, in fact. There's a lot of people, big name people, Cliff High, Catherine Austin Fitz, out here saying things very similar to each other. Here, watch this. Here's creepy Joe Biden inappropriately touching young girls.
The
So there's no
creeper.
shortage of Joe Biden and young girl footage. Here's a different girl. So Jeff Sessions coming up here after everybody walks away. Everybody, shuttles their kids away from creepy Joe and his sticky fingers. And watch. Right here, smack, smack, pow, pow. He's like, get the fuck off. You know what I mean? See that?
Good for him.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Liz Crokin is saying, look, this is why the media and, potentially the quote unquote deep state are going after Trump and Sessions and his camp so hard. They're putting out this narrative of the Russians did it when they have zero proof.
Yeah.
They're trying their level best to attack Trump on all fronts with nothing substantiated. And she's saying that, look, she says, we've known for years that Donald Trump was opposed to the elite pedophiles. He has said so in the past. Now, I don't know when and where, and this is where I will call upon the power of the audience once again to help me out. If you're aware of, perhaps, I don't do Twitter, so if you're aware of like some old Donald Trump tweets or speeches or anything that he has said in the past that would back up what Liz Crokin is saying. Hey, Sandra. So help me out in the chat box. Is anybody aware that Donald Trump was anti-elite pedophilia? Because Liz Crokin is saying, we've known this for years. He's said it for years.
His campaign run that he wanted to get to the bottom of child sex trafficking. He was
right.
He did want to advocate to look into that. He says we need more an investigation on all these missing children and stuff. So
okay, right. So that brings us back to the baseball shooting. Because this character Steve Scalise put out a video, I think 2 days before the supposed shooting.
Really? Okay.
Yes.
Put out a video. Okay.
He put out a video saying very similar things, that we need to expose this human trafficking. He didn't say child pedophilia or child trafficking. I think the words he chose were human trafficking, which is the same thing.
Which is, yes. Huh. So there could be a connection here where they're trying to, well, whether you believe him or not, he wants to drain the swamp, right? But it just seems strange how he, 1 minute he says good things, the next minute he just does what they all do, lie.
Yes. Well, what I don't understand is why, if he wants to drain the swamp, he's been filling the seats around him with the swamp.
Yeah, exactly. With Goldman Sachs and all this, yeah. And Mad Dog Maddox, who would rather have collateral damage than have terrorists. Phony terrorism.
Okay, fair enough. I mean, the guy has surrounded himself with some pretty shady people.
But yeah, it seems like there might be some sort of connection there.
So, like I was saying, Catherine Austin Fitts, Cliff High, Liz Crokin are saying they're all out there beating this drum about, look, we're close to something. We're close to exposing this child pedophilia elite pedophilia network. And when that happens, all hell is going to break loose. We're probably going to lose half of our government.
So did you find that video that you're talking about, Aaron?
What, the Joe Biden?
You guys can hear me, right?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, can you hear us? Ian, can you hear us? Earth to Ian, Earth to Canada. We've lost Canada.
It would seem.
Oh, Ian, you're going to have to probably leave and come back. Hopefully you can hear us. I don't know if you can hear me or not, but
I think I lost connection here somehow.
Can you hear me now, Ian? Can you hear me now? I can't keep up with the chat right now. Everybody's talking, and there's some good stuff in here.
Yeah, I would be helping, except I had to lie down.
Where the hell is the FBI vacationing on the Lolita Island also? No kidding. See, that's the problem. We'll you know, we all want justice, right? But how is that going to happen? Because the whole legal justice system is in on this. They're all part of it. You know, perhaps not every one of them, but the ones that are not in it, they know better than to speak out, right?
You know, my solution. Withdraw consent and start building our own better system. You know, the whole legal system is there to thwart ethics, not serve them.
Sandra, we're going to be moving on to the Greenwich or the Grenfell Tower shortly, and holy crap, it's already 8:30. Okay, we're halfway there. So, yeah, man, I just wanted to cover this. You know, that Liz Crokin and some other people are saying that, look, Donald Trump is working to expose this elite pedophile ring. Jeff Sessions is smacking the hand off of creepy Joe Biden, and you know, she's saying that this baseball shooting, which is fishy, okay, a lot of fishy things about this baseball shooting, but it doesn't mean it didn't happen. I mean, I don't know how to explain it other than we know that there is a hit team. There are wet team called wet teams, right? We know that there is a traveling troop of false flag, you know, kill squads. They will kill people. There are political assassinations. People do die in the name of politics. So it's so freaking hard to suss this shit out. So it looks like maybe this guy, Steve Scalise, was shot. Maybe. Because, you know, they can't let this egg crack. If he wanted to be part of exposing human trafficking, maybe that was a warning shot. Maybe they tried to kill him.
Maybe.
All I know is the picture of the shooter looks like a fucking CIA guy all the way.
Yeah.
What happened? Did we lose Ian? Ian left. Ian has left the building. Ian's having connection problems.
So it would seem.
So, once again, we've got some new people watching. If you guys know more about these subjects or as much, or you know something we don't know about these subjects, if you want to come and join us, say so in the chat box and I'll drop you the link. We'll get you the link. We'll get you in here. I'd like to talk to some of you other people that might know more about Dave Acton, George Webb, or any of this other stuff. Help us out here. Help us out. We're crowdsourcing tonight. So, all the fake pedos like Cliff Richards. What are you saying, Christos? You're talking to somebody else here. Maybe the pedophilia is a psyop fakery to cover up for transgenderism. Okay, Christos. You know what we don't need is to have our conversations derailed. What the hell are you talking about? Fake pedophilia. Don't come in here and talk to me about fake pedophilia. Fucking pedophilia is disgusting and it's very, very real and it goes all the way up to the top. We know this for sure. All the fake pedos. Marie. Hi, Marie. Canada just broke off the map and floated away.
Yeah, I guess so. I think you missed my comment because I accidentally had myself on mute again. I said pedophilia at the high places is very real, and I have personal experience thereof.
Oh, so Cliff 567 is saying that was Sessions' own granddaughter. I'm not surprised. Many photos where Sessions was not there to save the day. Yeah, I know. Creepy Joe Biden. There's tons and tons of video of him groping little girls, trying to kiss little girls. He's a creepy bastard. Bert Trim, hey buddy.
Talking about how sexy little girls are, and yes.
Yeah. Marie.
Oh God, he's a creep.
He has black eyes.
Oh, Ian's back. Yay.
No, I'm back. I've been back a bit. I don't know what happened. I hit a cord and it shut off. Shut off my sound.
I don't agree with you, Hristos. If it wasn't fake, they would not report it. Sorry, I don't agree with that at all. Pedophilia is very real. Everyone knows it. And we know it goes all the way from top to bottom.
They didn't report it. They had to do damage control on the fact that it got leaked out.
Right.
The mainstream media damage control by creating that psyop with the fake shooter guy to discredit the whole thing, to get people to not look at it anymore.
Yep.
It wasn't created by the media to... It was through the WikiLeaks cables.
Okay, so we're all going to ignore Hristos here, I think.
Podesta emails, that's where it all came out. Those pictures in there were disgusting.
Koi Mais Profita. Speaking of crazy weather, we're getting snow in June. You're going to have to let us know where you are because that might not be such an anomaly, depending on where you are.
Yeah, if you're in south of the equator, that would be perfectly normal about this time of year.
Yeah. No, I don't think it's to disguise the transgendering at top levels. I doubt that very much.
I doubt it too.
That wouldn't bother people as much as the reality of the pedophilia networks.
Yes, I agree. I mean, geez, if you want to be whatever you want to be, go for it, as long as it's not unethical. But yeah, messing with children, that's unethical.
You're in Finland. Okay, it isn't unusual, but not normal. Oh, there's a lot of unusual things with the weather these days.
Yes.
Yes, Hristos, all people on the news are actors and Masons. That's correct. But that doesn't support your other assertion. Okay, so the whole thing, man, Dave Acton, George Webb, baseball shooting, elite pedophilia.
UPS.
No. I'm talking about these are all directly related, I think.
Oh, directly related. Yes. Okay, I see where you're going.
So I really don't know what to make of the Dave Acton, George Webb thing. I mean, it seems like a setup.
Yeah, that's the way I get
And
a feel for it.
It's just another example of two well-known gurus in the truth community that are shooting each other in the foot, right? We're all scratching our heads and wondering who the hell we can trust anymore.
Yep.
So whatever setup, whatever tactic they're playing at, it's working. Because, I mean, well, not counting us, because we're talking about the pedophilia, which is the big thing. This is the thing that could break the whole system.
Yep.
But, you know, the whole internet is a buzz over Dave Acton, George Webb, their brothers, blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
That's a distraction. That's drama. That's theater.
Yep.
Some of it may be true. All of it may not be true.
True.
The only thing I know is that George Webb has admitted and Dave Acton has both separately admitted, yeah, we're brothers.
Yep.
And the thing about Dave Acton saying that his brother slept with his wife back in April, that I didn't know. That's and thank you for that. God forgive me. Who was it that said that?
I think it was Crazy.
It was Joanne, I think.
Oh, Joanne. Yeah. I'm not watching the window at this point. My head's on the floor.
Yeah, we saw this. Oh, yeah. Broadsword said, anyone seen the video of the naked man climbing down from Buckingham Palace window, and then he falls about 30 feet? Yeah, I have seen that.
Yep, I saw that too. Weird.
100% fake? Question mark.
Don't know. Could be.
Never seen the video.
Good point, Sandra.
What point did she make?
If I'm not mistaken, Sandra is in Brazil, and English is, I think, not her first language, and so her typing is a little bit out. She says, these arguments that has always happening do not add anything useful. I suppose we are here to get better, not to behave as centuries ago. I think that's a poignant. I think we all do learn a lot. In fact, it reminds me of something that C.W. Chanter said in one of his interviews. In fact, it was Kara St. Louis that he interviewed, where he said that he has learned, and I'll probably not forget this one, but he said, he's learned to take responsibility for what you say online. So yeah, we are all learning a lot in our own way.
Yep. I don't know. That's kind of weird because I've always taken responsibility for everything.
A lot of us have, sure.
So I never thought about it. Well, yeah, if you do it, you're responsible, right?
Okay. Paristos, you're wearing on my nerves, dude. System is ruled by secret transgenders. Deal with it. Okay. We are dealing with it.
Like, who cares?
Yeah, like, who cares? I don't give a shit if the system is ruled. Hey, greatest potential. I don't give a shit if the system is ruled by transgenders. I do give a shit if the system is ruled by fucking creepy pedophiles. Okay?
Yes.
That's what's going to piss people off. I don't give a shit if you want to pretend to be a woman and you're. I don't care. Who cares? Nobody fucking cares.
Yep. That kind of choice is irrelevant to the behaviors towards others. Wow, it sounds like somebody's in the background creating.
Yeah, it was me. Sorry, I had to go get a drink of water.
That
was my ice machine. Sorry. Okay.
We'll forgive you.
Okay. Enough of the derailed conversations, Hristos. Thank you very much. I think we've probably covered I don't know, we could go on and on about the baseball shooting. We could pick it apart. Is it a false flag? Some of the stories don't make sense. Especially the Rand Paul. Have you seen, are you guys a fan of Jesse Spots?
Nope.
Robin just Skyped me. He says, I saw your vid. That was some storm. I just got a second community guideline strike on my main channel for, of course, a Sandy Hook video. I contested. I cannot make videos for 2 weeks now and more.
Oh.
And more than likely my channel will be killed.
Holy wow.
No. Oh, jeez.
Man. He just can't win in
YouTube land.
YouTube.
Yeah, really.
No, we're using their platform, so you gotta just make the best of it.
Yep.
We know the threat is out there, so we just take the gamble, right? Because I got a copyright strike when I put up "We Need to Talk About Sandy Hook." That was only on my channel for maybe 3 days. At that point in the game, I knew that it was all completely hard.
What do you guys know about the YouTube rules? Because Robin just said he got his second community guideline strike. Does that mean he can't do Hangouts or anything? Do you think he'll have trouble? Because I just gave him the link.
He wouldn't be able to host a Hangout. He could come in the Hangout.
Oh, okay. Oh, well, I just gave him the link, so he might be popping in here in any minute, unless he's busy. We'll see.
He can't put on videos more than 15 minutes.
Yeah, so now he's on 2-week suspension, I guess.
That's just disgusting. I mean, that is so vile.
Yes,
Answer
I'm
to
Western
Koi
Canadian.
Mai's question. Koi Mai.
Yes, I am.
Yeah.
I'm in Victoria, BC, on Vancouver Island in Canada.
Yes, Joanne, I saw that also. Nancy Pelosi almost said death of Scalise.
Yeah.
And she
Yeah.
stopped herself.
Freudian.
It was definitely a moment. Had to collect herself. Absolutely. I saw that. Yes.
She seems drunk every time I see her talk.
Oh, that woman is, she's probably completely mind controlled. She's just a robot. She's a robot, man.
A rich robot, mind you.
Christos, we don't care. On to the next subject. If I have to tell you I don't care anymore, I'll ban you.
We understand that there is a lot of transgenders that we think are men out there, yes. But
look, I understand.
That's not harming anyone else. It's only just discomforting your aesthetic, you know. It's only aesthetically displeasing for some people. That's it. It's not pedophilia, which is destroying people and destroying people's lives.
You know, we did a show several weeks ago about the moral decline, and I'm speaking to Christos right now. The moral decline of a nation or the world in general. Movies, sitcoms, our heroes, our action heroes, our action stars, a lot of times they are trans or gay, or they'll put like Dave Chappelle said, every big time male actor finds himself in a dress at some point in his career. It's part of the public humiliation Masonic ritual. That much is true. Robin says he's trying to get in.
He gets the error. He's got to erase.
I'm going to ask him if he got the 403. If so, delete everything after the question mark.
Yeah, he probably did get the 403 because I got the 403 when I came in and I had to delete. There's something about when you get your links, Aaron. I've never had that problem when Ian sent me a link or anyone else.
Well, I've gotten 403 trying to get in, trying to get into Ian's chat and trying to get into other people's chats. Yeah.
There he is. Hey, Robin, how you doing?
Hey, everybody. The gang's all here.
Yeah, sort of. I'm struggling to stay on board again with one of my nasty. So we'll see how well I hang forth.
Okay.
Robin, glad to see you.
Thanks. Yeah, Robin. What's the topic here? What's going on?
Well, we were just about to shift topics, and I'm glad you're here to help us suss out what's going on with the Dave Acton George Webb saga, and how it's, I think, as Liz Crokin puts it, connected to the elite pedophile network that Steve Scalise, the guy shot in the park.
Right.
She said that he put out a video a day or two before the shooting about going after the human trafficking.
Yeah, it was 3 weeks before that, actually.
3 weeks, okay.
Yeah.
Tell us what you know there, Robin.
Yeah, fill us in because we were just about to shift gears here.
Yeah, it's another one of those stories that gets really deep, of course. So he's heading the crackdown on basically child predators and human trafficking. So he puts out that video talking about that just 3 weeks before this shooting at the baseball field, which I wanted to look into it again today, but it's very questionable, that whole shooting. So
yeah, it is questionable, but we do know that people die, people get shot, political assassinations do happen.
Yeah, I mean, there's every reason they would really want to shoot him. So if it's fake, what's the purpose of it? You know what I mean? It seems to make more sense with what's going on behind the scenes, that he was actually shot and it really happened. You know what I mean?
That's what I'm thinking.
If I look at it in the political sense, okay, just strictly the political sense, not gun control or anything else that seems to be the agenda of some, right? Never let a good crisis go to waste situation, right? But in a political sense, what I'm kind of thinking is Donald Trump set this up himself so that it would make the left look bad, even worse, and they would stop this anti-Trump craziness in some way with more police state or more rules and stuff. But to damage the left somehow.
Yeah, I mean, you could see it being real or fake and working many agendas for any
their favor somehow.
So confusing. But I've been seeing video breakdowns on the footage, that guy with the dog who filmed it from the ground level.
Right.
And it seems like people are looking in one direction when the shooter's supposed to be behind them on the ball field. So it doesn't make any sense why they're looking the way they're looking. And there's all kinds of, there's a lot of discrepancies going on.
Right. And the story of Rand Paul jumping over 2 fences.
Right.
Yeah.
The shooter, I said earlier, he looks like a dead ringer for a CIA agent.
Yeah, of course. So who knows? I mean,
Then there's the other aspect of the dog itself. Now I'm an avid dog owner. I've got several dogs. I do a little bit of dog training / dog psychology in the Cesar Millan method, which absolutely fucking works, by the way. I mean, spot on works. By the way, as a side note, 200-300 channels on TV, hundreds and hundreds of TV shows. It's all bullshit except for Cesar Millan, because I've done it and it works. You know what I mean? Yeah. So if you ask me, there's one thing on TV that's not bullshit, and that's Cesar Millan. Anyway, the issue I have is the dog's wagging his tail. You see the dog like once or twice in that video, scoot in front of the camera. The dog is wagging his tail. The dog doesn't look afraid. Look, my dog, all 3 of my big dogs are afraid of thunder and rain and lightning and loud noises and fireworks. When it's 4th of July or any, Memorial Day, when the neighbors start shooting off fireworks, my dogs are crawling under the damn bed.
Yeah. I had that same experience as well. A lot of people
live gunshot and be wagging his tail and not concerned.
Yeah, makes no sense. Well, they'll come out and say the dog's deaf, so they can always debunk everything.
In fact, my dogs are going out for their evening time outside, so you may hear them make some noise just now. Anyway, I can't imagine for 1 second that dog, any dog.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe if it was a trained military dog, and because they, like horses, you can train a horse to ignore the sound of a gunshot, right? If you have.
Yeah, all the horses they use in westerns must be trained.
Right. Dogs, same way. You can train a dog to get used to the sound.
Yeah.
But typically, the dog is going to be afraid of loud noises, thunder, fireworks, gunshot, for Christ's sakes.
Yeah. So I don't know.
Blue Blood says he sounded like blanks.
The gun sounded. I saw a comment where somebody said it sounded like those gunshots were coming from much farther away. But we're watching a video, so how do we know exactly? Hard to determine.
Zach Hawkins says they say the shooter fired 50 to 100 rounds and only had 5 hits. He needs more, quote, gun control.
Yeah, he didn't kill anyone. That's suspect in itself, because spraying bullets all through this dugout. Weren't they all inside a dugout?
Well, they ran through the dugout.
Some of the stories is that they were diving in the dugout, for cover and whatever.
Right.
But like Robin said, in that video of, the guy, the cell phone video, the guy on the ground shooting video through the fence, like Robin said, you can see people, One guy's got his freaking hands in his pockets. People are walking casually, standing around,
Yeah.
looking the other direction.
And one guy goes back out on the ball field, which, why would you do that? If he's behind home base, why would you walk out on the field if he's still shooting? And if he's got a gun, he must have a scope on it, right? If it's a rifle, well, there's somebody laying on the field, just laying there. Why isn't he continuing to shoot him? If he really wants to do some damage. It's coming from mainstream media and the government, so there's a double red flag right there.
Yeah, that's your instant bullshit meter goes right up.
Exactly.
But it wasn't even like, what, 2 hours after the event, they had politicians coming out saying they need more gun control. And,
Yep, of course.
I mean, just right off the bat, you know, before they even knew who the shooter was, they were already talking about it.
Yeah, so if he was really shot, then, and there, you know, people are now saying that he was shot because he's trying to crack down, like they say Trump is, on these pedophiles. What would be the psyop if it's fake? Just a gun grab? Just because it's an attack directly on Congress members, so now they're just going to throw their hands up and say, "That's it, no more guns in the streets, grab them all."
Well, I mean,
There's more. There's more. Okay.
Yeah, there's always
One of the things that I saw was them talking about cracking down on hate speech sort of things. You know, they were talking about this guy. I think I mentioned earlier. They were talking about him as if, you know, he was ranting and raving and, you know, just going off the rails, except the only thing so far that I've seen from this guy is he said that Trump is a traitor and should be in jail. Now, if that's if that's his ranting and raving, how many people fall into that category? And golly gee, we can just label everybody that would say such a thing as problematic. And
yeah, that's,
you know,
that's the other angle.
That I think is one of the more icky agenda.
They're calling it political rhetorical terrorism.
Yes,
like that.
Yes, that.
Literally, free speech is terrorism, and free speech causes people to go out and kill people and shoot people.
Yes.
So, you know, we're all going to have some kind of a padlock on our head that the government can unlock for us once in a while to let us talk. That's what it seems like they're coming down to. How are they going to stop everybody from speaking their mind? They're never going to go do that.
Well, they're going to try.
They'll just shut down websites and accounts, YouTube accounts, and that's how they're going to silence us. Of course, people will still find a way to speak the truth. We always will.
I agree. We will. Those with the moxie and the wherewithal to do it.
Yeah, it's tiring. You know, I feel bad for PK. He's. I can only imagine. I mean, I just got a community guideline strike today, a second one. So now I can no longer make videos for 2 weeks right now, as of today. And
well, you can keep making them. You can just wait to publish.
Yeah, well, I have a VidMe account. You know, I can put them up on there. I could use my Sandy Hook channel, but it just.
Yeah, I was going to say you could keep making videos and just wait to publish them.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'll do that. Otherwise, I feel overloaded, like everything's piling up on me.
Wow.
Okay, before we move on, I want to get to the Grenfell Tower, and Sandra Textera is dying for us to move to that subject as well. I just wanted to see if you had an opinion on the Dave Acton, George Webb phenomenon happening right now. Do you have info or ideas on that?
I'm hearing a lot of that he is a cult, that he's stirring shit up, that he is trouble. That
which he are we talking about?
George Webb.
Okay.
And his sidekick. You know, people were always telling me in the past, oh, you got to look into this George Webb. He's really doing some good work. And I looked, and I even made a video where I mentioned him. I said, you know, if anybody's interested in following George Webb, he seems to be doing great work, and he's on the road. He's interviewing people and stuff. He had so much. He was so deep into it. He had hundreds of videos. They're all really short, and I just felt overwhelmed with trying to catch up with anything he was doing. So
Me too.
I never got to it, but I did watch some of his work, and I would always come away kind of shaking my head going, what did I just learn? What is he, what's the point of what he just said? It was just like all over the place, and there's always these colorful charts with arrows pointing at all these different names and people. I'm going, I don't even know what the hell he's talking about. So it might be because I came in so late, but I couldn't catch up with him. So now I'm hearing a lot of, you know, H.A. Goodman. I trust H.A. Goodman. I like listening to him, and I
was mentioning him earlier in our show. Yeah, H.A. Goodman.
All over these guys, and well, not all over them, but he's just calling them out and saying it's just crazy. Now they just had some port shut down or something.
Yeah, that's right. George Webb, supposedly the guy that called in a dirty bomb at the port of Charleston in South Carolina, shut the port down, supposedly.
Well, he said he blamed it on one of his subscribers. He said someone listening to his show took it.
And if you can hear me, I need you to repeat that, please.
I just heard on H.A. Goodman's channel that George Webb, and he played the clip, George Webb said that one of his subscribers or one of the people listening in on the show made that phone call. So as far as I know, he didn't actually make that call himself, but he could have and blamed it on someone else.
Right. I saw a video from George Webb this morning where he said that he was, God, I'm probably going to get this wrong. He was recommending, he sort of played it off that it was him that tried to alert the port, but he wasn't saying, look, I have, you know, dead on intel or there's a dirty bomb and you got to do something. You know, it wasn't, he sort of played it off like, look, I was just trying to give these guys, you know, the info that I had. And I don't know. I don't have enough info to really, I'm speaking out of school, so I need to just not.
And he's also, I'm told, where he's drunk now. He's drinking on camera, and I don't know. It just sounds like a bunch of distraction and diversion.
Control opposition.
It seems like a whole lot of theater.
Yeah, it's too. He's always going on about these blackberries, and I don't know. I'm not interested in it. There's probably a lot of truth in there, but I don't know why he's presenting it the way he does, and it's just too messy for me. I can't. There's too much else going on for me to start digging into all of his hundreds and hundreds of 5-minute videos to catch up with him, you know?
Right. Okay, so let's, enough of that. We've already hashed a lot of that out, and we, just like you said, Robin, and we all, myself included, feel the same way as what you just expressed. It is just too much. It's convoluted. It's not very well packaged. It seems like too much drama and headache. So let's just call it what it is, theater, and move on.
Right.
Because as we've mentioned, you and I on the show, that the whole thing is probably not ever going to, the Seth Rich thing is never going to go anywhere. We're never going to get any justice for Seth Rich. We're never going to get any justice for Hillary Clinton, it looks like.
Nope.
So
even we're now talking as of today that she's going to be indicted. Where have we heard that before? We've
heard it all.
Only everywhere?
A year.
Yeah, they're above the law. We know that already.
They're never going to put her in jail. It's never going to happen. She'll live to be 101 years old, like that Rockefeller terrorist.
Right.
Rotten feller.
Rotten, yeah, exactly.
Okay, so let's see. I want to do a screen share, and I want to show you guys an interesting video that I found the other day. This is seen inside the ground floor of Inferno-ravaged Grenfell Tower, okay? Daily News Network channel, 24 subs. And by the way, there's an awful lot of new channels these days.
Yes, there are.
And you just, this issue of George Webb and Dave Acton, you know, really boils down to who do we trust.
Right.
We can't trust anybody. Truth is, trust your own eyeballs, your own discernment. So this is, I want to watch this, and I want to show you something at the end of this video, and I might skip forward. It's only 3 minutes, but I may skip forward to the end. Okay, it's water. There's all these hoses. Now, these are not fire hoses. These are water pump hoses, sump pump hoses. You can see there's one there, but there's like shit tons of them, and there's all this debris. It looks like it's been burned. Glass is blown out here. So this is apparently, as the title of the video says, it's the ground floor of the Grenfell Tower Inferno, right?
Right.
So this guy walks through. You can see the water everywhere. He goes up some stairs. You see the water coming down the stairs. Okay, that's what you would expect. The fire department would douse the place. It would be saturated.
Right.
I don't see any smoke damage. And by the way, as part of my living, I do water restoration, and I have also done fire restoration. So, I'm the guy who comes in and does the cleanup, and the drywall and the paint, and puts it all back together, and uses these products that absorb the fire smell and deal with the mildew protocols. So what I don't see is soot anywhere. I don't see any smoke damage in this building. Sump pumps are everywhere. Tons and tons and tons of hoses, probably more than I would expect to see, and most of them are not even running. The lines are flat. Now, what's really curious, here's one. That hose is full and it's pumping right now. I'm going to go ahead and jump forward here, because what's really curious is when the guy makes his way through the building. Now, here we go. He walks outside, water on the ground, damage, debris, and looky, right about there. Boom. What does that look like to you?
That's the building that was on fire.
And it looks like it's still on fire.
Right.
In fact.
So what building were we just in with the hoses?
That's my point.
What the hell's going on?
This building, you can see fire coming out of on the top left there.
So that the film is not from the Grenfell Tower. It's from the building next door?
It must be. And I didn't notice it.
Clickbait. That's clickbait.
Looks like the hoses hit that building and flooded them as well, and then they had to pump it out. And maybe somebody put up this video thinking.
Yeah, except for all this, what looks like fire debris in some of these images. As he walks through, the whole, right here. This is, well, actually, there's trees there, looks like. Is that a tree I just saw? So, as they walk through this building, look at all this damage, drywall down. And again, I didn't see any smoke footage. Now, this looks like we're outside, but it's dark. But it's not dark because they walked out, unless this is cut. This is cut footage, maybe. And then, boom, cuts to this. See, I didn't jump the video there. I'll just let this play one more time. Now, I won't touch it. It goes from this to this. Bang, right there.
Yeah.
And again, like I said, they walk out of this building and they look up, and there's the Grenfell on fire.
Well, of course, it's from the fail online to begin with. So,
of course. Well, this is a perfect example of how the sheep will just watch anything and buy it and not think about it, what they're looking at. They just eat it up.
This looks like a clickbait video. You think you're going to see the inside, but it's not.
And, I'd be curious to know the original source of the upload. Like, who filmed it? Were they inside the Grenfell building to begin with, and then it's cut to another building for some reason? It doesn't make any sense. But, I've been hearing a lot of other things which I have not had time to look into yet, that this was, that an accelerant might have been used for this building. There's, people keep directing me to a video about somebody named Peaky, P-E-A-K-Y.
Oh, yeah, we got to get on the Peaky. You don't,
yeah.
Oh my.
We haven't gone into him yet. We got a lot to say about him.
Yeah, if you don't know about this Peaky character, our buddy Dominic, a conscientious objector, busted that guy wide open. Have you seen, or do you know what I'm talking about here?
I just I saw him talking on a video and then I had to stop it, and I haven't been able to go back to it.
Ian, do you have that video still?
Yeah, I can. Yep, I've still got it up here.
Pull
Do
up
you want me
that
to play?
Either pull
want me
up,
to play?
yeah, pull up the video where Peaky, what's his
Okay.
name, that dreadlock character gives his testament
Right.
on the street where he's talking to that reporter.
Uh-huh.
And then I want to show Conchi's video where he busts this guy wide open. Now this.
Well, this is it. This is Conchi's video here.
Oh, okay.
I'll put the sound.
I would urge everybody, if you're interested in the Grenfell Tower, and you know about this character, Peaky, what's his name? What's his last name? I can't remember.
I don't know either.
If you're interested, I would urge you all to go over to the Conscientious Objector channel. Ian, show Conchi's homepage so everybody can see. He's got the panda icon. We've had him on the show. I know that some of the people listening know who I'm talking about, but this is for, new people or whatever. If you're interested, here you go. Go over to the Conscientious Objector. Will the real Peaky Saku please stand up? Now, this is this dreadlock character who gives this conspiracy theory version where he's talking about gentrification and the rich people want to get rid of these flats. They want to knock them down.
Right.
And he's throwing out a couple of F-bombs on this live, street interview with the BBC reporter. He says, I ain't even going to fuck with the government now. And the reporter says, well, I'll apologize for your language, as he walks away, blah, blah, blah. And he's talking, there we go. Charterhouse, which is the most expensive posh school you could go to. There he is right there.
Your screen share is down in the lower part of the screen here. I don't see it on the...
I've got him highlighted. He should be full screen for everybody.
No, I just see it down below in the icons.
Robin, click Ian's icon and it should go full screen for you. If it's not already.
Yeah, now it did. Thanks.
I gotta go keep an eye on the chat box. So first,
Guys,
yeah, Amy, you need to leave us. Are you hurting?
yeah, I think I need to just kind of curl up and go try to get some sleep or something. I don't know. I'm not functioning well here.
All right, Amy, take care of yourself.
Okay, love you all very much.
All right, Amy, we'll talk to you later. Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
So what is he saying about, why is he saying will the real Peaky Saku stand up? Because that's not really him.
No, it is really him. He found him. Conchi found him, and he's a student at this really ridiculously posh school, Chatham House. There he is with his dreads, and there's his Twitter account, and so this guy's given this street interview where he's like this conspiracy guy. He's all into a lot, I guess some of the stuff we talk about, right? He's talking about the government did this. He's saying, I don't think the fire was started the way they say. Oh, by the way, they said a refrigerator, and I know you know this. See, there he is. That's him. That's his Twitter. That's him. So he's saying things like, it didn't start this way. There was probably accelerant. He talked about the building renovation. He says this is gentrification. They want to get rid of all the poor and, underclass people in this area because they want to bring in the expensive high rises, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
And it's kind of, and he's throwing out, he's cursing. He doesn't care. He's dropping F-bombs during the BBC interview. And he acts like, some guy who kind of knows a few things, right?
Right.
And he's like, I am not taking this shit. I'm not falling for it. There's something fishy going on here. And, well, guess what? He's not who he says he is. So here on Conchi's channel right here, he's looking through his Twitter. And this guy, Dominic says, I went looking for anything conspiratorial on this guy's Twitter. and his channels and whatever, his Facebook he could find. He says, I found nothing, zero.
Huh. It's interesting.
Gucci.
Right. It looks like a bunch of nonsense. He's into shoes. So you're saying that the guy who was interviewed wasn't really him?
No, he's not really the indigent, poor. You know, he said he was living in that building with his mom. I think that's what he said.
Okay. So that's really where he'd be living if he was at the charter house.
That's the point. Yeah. He's not who he sells himself to be.
Right.
So yeah, go over to Conchi's channel when you get a minute, everybody, and watch this video. Conchi rips this guy to shreds.
I'll check it out.
Fractal Truth, hello, welcome. Yes, Fractal, you're gonna have to go back. We just got off of the Dave Acton Webb thing. We've been talking about that for an hour and a half or so. We just changed to the Grenfell Tower. So yeah, you'll either have to catch the show tomorrow or back the video up. Hogwarts. greatest potential.
What it looked like.
Sandra says she's just seen Muslims or Latin people living there. There were some black people living there as well, I think, but nevertheless, it was a downscale. It was, you know, it was a not quite Section 8 housing or slum, but it was low rent. So this guy Piki Saku would not be hanging around this place, living there and attending Chatham House. Just no way.
Yeah. How many people died in that fire?
Well, see, that's interesting because I was going to say that too. I thought it was kind of interesting that before the fire was out, they were talking about there's 6 people confirmed dead.
Right.
From what I understand, nobody went in. They weren't. I mean, look, it's possible that they went in the lower floors where they could go in, and maybe they found some, you know, smoke, you know, people that died from inhalation. I just thought it was interesting that they had that number out so quick before the fire was out. And then, you know, everybody online is saying, look, this building had 120 flats, I think.
I don't know.
And, you know, estimate of a couple of hundred people should have been in that building. It was 1 o'clock in the morning. Everyone was asleep. It wasn't like.
Right. There would be many, many more.
So last I heard is, I think it was on the news ticker on my news at home on cable news. They said that they expected it to go over 100, the death toll. Now that I think that was today, which is what, 2-3 days? No, how long has it been? 2 days? They should have already figured that out by now.
Yeah,
they should have an official death toll by now.
Yeah, or somewhere close to it anyway. It must have gone up pretty quickly. Terrible. I made a video about it because I wanted to compare it to
I saw
Building 7, and everybody was giving me hell for being disrespectful, even though in the beginning of the video I said this is a terrible tragedy and, you know, 6 people died and that's really awful. And now it seems like there's plenty more than that. It's a really bad way to go in a fire. That's awful.
Blue Blood says, I'm guessing the number of dead will end up being 44. The kill number. There's a lot of migrants in that flat, Karen says.
Testing, 1, 2, 3.
I saw a story. There's an echo.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, you have to turn your.
Oh, okay. You couldn't hear me before, could you?
Yeah, we're getting an echo, Ian. It's probably on your end.
Yeah, I had to re-log in. Something's weird going on with my sound tonight. It keeps cutting out.
Oh.
I was going to say that crisis actor, just like Sandra was saying here, that they wouldn't have let him even be on the BBC doing an interview if he was
Amy was saying that too.
a real guy that comes out and tries to expose him.
Right.
It always makes me wonder about the guy. Remember the 9/11 was an inside job perpetrated by U.S. government, remember? At the NFL award thing? I think it was NBA or NFL.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
Matthew.
That was an inside job.
Yeah.
Remember that, Aaron?
Yeah, I do.
It makes me wonder why that was even aired. Like, you know what I mean?
Well, it might have went out on live TV, which, you know, there's a 10-second delay.
Right.
But then again, there's satellite TV, and a lot of people have an option on their satellite to choose the unedited version or the uncommercial version on their satellite feed.
Oh yeah.
It's like where we get the clips of Bill Clinton where he's getting his makeup put on and he looks like a zombie.
Yeah.
Those are from people who have their satellite feed switched to this other option.
Because he is a zombie.
And the other clip where Bill Clinton, when he was campaigning, he's talking to oh crap, what's that creepy old bastard's name? He used to have a talk show, and he used to sometimes feature people talking about aliens and UFOs. And it was a mainstream old guy, creepy old guy. What's his name?
Mr. Spock.
Oh,
Leonard Nimoy.
I haven't watched TV in years.
no, he had a regular primetime talk show. I think it was taken over by Pierce Morgan when he retired. I think. I'll remember it in a minute. Anyway, he was talking to Bill Clinton, and he was saying that No, Ian, mainstream television like CNN.
My wife.
Larry King. It was Larry King. Sorry.
Oh, Larry King.
Yeah, so Larry King is talking to Bill Clinton, and the feed is off, but they're still being recorded. And if you had satellite and you had this option chosen on your satellite, then you're still getting the feed. And they didn't realize. And so they were having what they thought was a private conversation.
Oh, no.
And yeah, and if you're not familiar with that one, that's a real gem of a piece of information. Listening to Larry King sweet talk Bill Clinton saying, look, I know some people, and I got some connections, and this guy could really help you out, and blah blah. He's like, you know what I mean, wink wink.
Oh my God, that's pretty sickening.
So somebody was asking a minute ago, I can't find, I think it was Broadsword who asked if there was any hero characters from Grenfell Tower.
Yes, there was. I don't have any names, but there was an article put out, I think it was by the Daily Fail, of a woman had to throw her baby 10 stories down and someone caught it, which of course sounds phony.
Yeah, because it's like a heroic story.
So who knows look, we can't believe anything that comes out of mainstream media ever, nothing. Like, you just have to look at every single freaking thing that comes out of mainstream media with a very big grain of salt.
Right.
And this was obviously a real fire. The building's burning, so why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't Why wouldn't they lie and make up stories around it to sell papers or to get,
Thanks, Mike. Free Bethlehem, our buddy Mike. He just said it was Ted Turner. That's the guy that Larry King was talking about when he was talking to Bill Clinton. Ted Turner is a great boss. He could really help you out. Shit like that, he was saying.
Wow.
And he was saying it in a tone of voice. It was like, I think he could really help you out. It was just weird, man. Creepy.
These people are just all a bunch of sickos.
Yeah, they're a bunch of psychopaths.
Yeah. Hard to imagine they do what they do.
So what about this black guy character who gives an interview on the street, and when he gets to the part telling his story about babies being thrown out the window, cracks a smile, covers his face. Have you seen this one?
No.
I haven't.
Oy vey. Let's see if I can go find some stuff to show you guys. Let's see. Grenfell Tower. I'll just leave that there. Crisis actors, Grenfell Tower should come up tons and tons. There he is right there. Here we go. Screen share. So this is the guy this guy is describing people dying. I'm going to go ahead and see if I can get the sound to play. I'll turn my microphone.
Just 1 second, Robin.
Yeah.
When you mentioned why would they have some sort of conspiracy within it, right? Because the people that they need to take down the building, it's cheaper than doing the renos that they were going to have to do.
Okay.
So they put on the fire retardant material, which didn't work at all, right?
Right.
And probably did the opposite, right? And there was complaints and everything, but they overlooked it. And then now that they did the deed to burn it down instead of reno it, they have to make it as real as they possibly can make it, right? They have to make it look like there's actual victims and there are actual people involved in it in order to sell that of a spontaneous fire, right, from a fridge.
Of course. Yeah. Yeah.
So that would be the reason why they would create these fake stories about heroes of catching a baby and these people jumping out of windows and all this stuff to make it more real, make it more believable. And if anybody questions that, then they'll say, oh, you're a mean person. You know, what about the victims, right? What about that little kid and all that, right? How can you have that? It's just.
So is it possible there was nobody in the building at all?
It
is possible that place was completely abandoned.
It's possible, but I don't think so. I've seen many footages from many sources, cell phones and cameras, different angles, different people, different times, and you can see people in the building. You can see lights flashing. People are waving their cell phones with the flashlight on in front of the. People are flashing, turning their lights on and off. People waving, and people standing. People leaning out the window. There's just too much footage of people in the windows. And could it all be CGI? Of course it could. I don't think so. And I'm also of the opinion that the creepy cult bastard, sick psychopath motherfuckers running this planet they don't mind killing people.
No, of course they don't.
No.
So
but I've heard them say on the news, collateral damage is all part of war. So
absolutely. Absolutely. They don't mind killing people for all kinds of reasons. And they will absolutely set fire to this building full of people for the dramatic effect, because the bigger the event, the more they can get out of it. The more sympathy, the more tax dollars, the more war machine.
Right.
Right.
The more legislation.
Waste.
Right. The more legislation, all of it. All right. So if you guys haven't seen this, and I'm going to ask everybody in the chat box as well, I just want your own personal opinions. You tell me if you think this guy is telling pork pies.
There is no lift in this situation. There's only this. There's stairs. It's smoke. It's dark. It's scary. It's trip hazard. There's fall hazard. There's all sorts. There's elderly. There's children. There's disabled people. It's all sorts. There's luggages in the stairwell. You know, even some of the stairwell, some lights were not working. So it was so dark in there. It's incredible. It's incredible we survived. So many people were left inside. We had so many relatives and families and friends that called and said, we are still trapped in. Let the fire services know that we are still here. We are trapped. This kid that called and said he was trapped in his room. So it's you know, it's a very horrible situation. It's lives have been lost. I can't confirm lives have been lost. There has been fatalities of some of our friends, and some of our families, some of our loved ones, our neighbors. I'm really sorry. It's heartaching. It really is. You just don't know. Right now, we can only offer prayers. We can only offer support to the people who've lost loved ones. We can only pray for those who have passed away. We can only praise the fire services for their efforts. We can only praise the emergency services for their efforts in trying to
Praise the emergency services.
make some sort of sense and save as many people as they can. This was really horrific. There's people who were jumping out of the plane. There's a man who threw 2 of his children.
Notice he's looking down the whole time too. He's reading a card.
It looks like he was about to laugh right there when he covered his face.
Yeah, go back a bit, Aaron. Just see the last bit there. It looked like he was going to start laughing.
People who were jumping out of the plane. There's a man who threw 2 of his children.
That looked like a laugh to me.
Almost.
And threw 2 of his children.
He sure has a lot of information for just somebody who was.
I mean, that doesn't look like the face of a person who's going to start to cry. If you would have took a still of that, you could put that on a magazine cover about a man who just seen his daughter for the first time.
Yeah, exactly. So this is a situation here. So he's creating a story. If he's lying, then he's making up a story that there are victims when there really aren't any. So
I also heard that the firefighters were in need of more funding too and stuff. So
well, of course,
they probably had a hand in it, of course.
Fake events
They
always
need more money now,
the
right?
police departments and the fire departments and the hospitals.
Karen McCardle says he's too clean to have come out of a fire. Show me his tears, says Sandra. Yep.
Yeah, I'm calling bullshit on that one.
Laughed and covered his mouth, says Zach. Big smile, says Karen. Typical script, says Blue Blood. Praise the emergency services, says Broadsword. Yes, I noticed that one too.
They probably paid him cash money. It was some dude that says, oh, okay, sure, I'll do that. Pay cash. Who knows? Could be an insider. Who knows?
Yeah.
Somebody mentioned in the chat earlier they believe there's over, like, what, 20,000 of these people involved in all these worldwide hoaxes?
Sandy Villarreal says his eye contact is poor.
You got an echo, eh?
Yeah, I got my microphone right on my speaker. I forgot. Sorry. Simon Cowell, Coy Mize, thank you for that, reminding me. Simon Cowell is in on this. He's collecting money for Grenfell Tower.
Yeah, cashing in on a tragedy.
Big P says BBC One is saying 30 people dead. Joanne says they have no emotional attachment other than anything of their own gain there. Sandra says media did not interview true families.
All bystanders.
Bert says, I call BS.
Somebody's not lying with it.
Yeah.
So I think we've got a consensus here.
I always say when you have some real event, there's not going to be all these questions coming up about it. Because it's so real, you just know it's real.
Yeah. You just know it. Like, you can just see it.
You can see the real. I mean,
it's not how a normal human being really responds to these things. Like,
go find a video of a real shooting somewhere and watch how these people act. They have them handcuffed on the street, laying down. They're saying crazy things. It's just nobody's polished, sitting in their fucking living room talking to cameramen. It's just ridiculous. No. It's very raw. And it's very real.
Yeah. The classic giveaway of the setup staged interview was when they had remember the girl that looked like Alex Israel? There was that whole
Foley.
Okay, but
Sister.
Foley, yeah, James Foley's sister, and
Right.
her and apparently her brother. Remember?
Yeah, that's the same girl.
And they were both sitting there in the studio, and all of a sudden the picture fell,
Yeah, and they totally ignore it.
and they totally just ignored it like it had been happening all day long. It was like,
Because
oh,
it's
that's
totally
picture.
fake. We got everything on.
All right, didn't mean to flash back here, but that's okay.
Well, just look at any of the living rooms of these fake crisis actors. They're always fake and staged. They always have a row of photographs in the background, you know, of the poor little dead child and all this crap.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, they're laughing their asses off.
To the bank.
Exactly. So disgusting.
Okay, I found it. I want to show you this because we're getting, let's see, it's 9:35 right now. I want to show you this because we talked about it a minute ago. You didn't seem very familiar, and this is a really interesting little gem of information here. Again, I'm going to put my speaker up to the microphone. Listen to this.
Oh, I've never seen this.
Oops, sorry. Hang on, let me unmute this.
So is this, when was this filmed? Before he was president or CEO of the United States of America?
Yeah, before he became CEO, he was still campaigning. So here we go. Let me play this.
I wanted to finish the thought here. We want to break the habit of lives around the world. Hard to believe we're being watched in 151 countries.
Can you hear it?
Yeah.
Not really.
Scary.
A little bit.
I go everyone in Israel. True story.
Got an echo.
They were my brother. I'm Jewish. My culture. Standing there as a old rabbi, davening, praying. Religious Jewish man. He looks up at me and he says, "What's with parole?" Swear to God, that's with parole. In Israel. I love it. Crazy. Ted Turner changed the world. Big fan of it. So beautiful. I'm surprised. It's ready to get left behind. After you're elected, think about it.
I'll call him after you're elected.
Oh, wow.
Are you reading? Because the sound gets really poor right here. And so whoever.
I'm reading it.
Before I get
All right, so whoever made the video here has put some text on the screen because you can barely hear what they're saying.
Right.
If you go and listen to get the video yourself, you'll be able to hear it a lot better. This platform doesn't provide me a good way to give you the sound. He says, "It's crazy. Ted Turner changed the world. He's a big fan of yours." Bill says, "Is he?" And Larry says, "He would serve you. You know what I mean?" Clinton says, "You're kidding." And Larry says, "Oh, you'd be surprised. He's ready. He's ready. What's he got left in life to gain? He's ready. What's he got left in life to gain? I'll call him after you're elected. Think about it," he says.
Yeah, it's weird. It almost sounds.
Larry King's now on RT.
It almost sounds like he's telling Bill Clinton that Ted Turner can get him girls or something.
Yeah, it was almost like a pedophile ring or something. Serve you or something.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
I also find it interesting during this little exchange here. Bill's replies are so short, nonchalant, as though he's just trying to get through the moment. He's not adding or contributing to this conversation in any way.
Yeah, he lucked out.
So here, Larry tells a story about his Jewish relative, looks at him and says, "Hey, what's with Perot?" Bill says, "I love it." So Larry says, "It's crazy. Ted Turner changed the world. He's a big fan of yours." And Bill goes, "Is he?" And Larry says, "He would serve you. You know what I mean." Bill goes, "You're kidding."
Ted Turner changed the world.
Well, I'm sure Ted Turner's in the club too, along with all these, you know.
100%.
I'm sure it's all, you know.
They all are. They're all one big.
I'm sure they know each other pretty good, probably, right?
So Larry goes on. He says, "You'd be surprised. He's ready. What's he got left in life to gain? I'll call him after you're elected. Think about it. And then
says,
Bill's reply is,
he says I'd call him. So he's suggesting that Bill Clinton calls him after he's elected.
oh, okay, yeah, okay, sorry.
I'd call him.
I'd call him. So he's recommending, okay, I'd call him after you're elected. Think about it. No dope. Bill says, that's for sure. You know, he's not contributing anything to this conversation. He's just letting Larry be Larry.
Look at his Masonic hand gesture.
Yeah. Good eye. Yeah, good eye.
Creepy
Oh.
fucking bastards.
Yeah.
We're all revolting. I literally cringe when I see them talking. Like my psyche gets poisoned or something.
Yeah.
Poison leaking into my brain when they talk. I just came across that clip of Obama talking about that birth certificate. I literally
Go there.
Yeah.
It
That's
was
a whole
before,
show in itself, Robin. A whole show in itself.
no, I know, but this is before the recent information came out. And he's laughing about it. He says, remember that? And we're like, yeah. We remember more so than ever that you're a fraud.
Barry's got a great sense of humor.
Unbelievable.
He's a fun guy. Especially when he was talking about a red wedding. Remember that? That was cryptic as hell. Do you know what a red wedding is, you guys?
Yeah, that's when you kill everybody at the wedding.
Yeah, you lock them into a room and kill them, just like on Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
He was talking about that?
Yeah, he says, yeah, it's like a red wedding. Then he's just laughing, you know, cryptic like he normally does, right? And he laughs. You think I'm kidding, right? Predator drones.
Yeah, amazing.
He just nonchalantly, and then he drops his microphone, says, this is the end of the Republic. The end of the Republic never looked better, he says. Drops his mic.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, that was in the same little.
Okay,
Anyways.
I'm gonna try to find this other video real quick.
Yeah,
And
let's keep on topic.
I happen to be lucky enough to be very good friends with a woman from Jordan who English is her second language, and she speaks Arabic fluently. I've already sent her the video. She's already translated it, and I'm going to see my friend and his fiance Mona this weekend. And I'm going to get a full translation from her. I'm about to show you guys a video as soon as I can find it here. Let's see. It's called Chilling Video from Inside Grenfell Tower. Let's see. Chilling. Apparently there was a Muslim woman who was in a flat with someone else, her friend and her kids, and they're videoing. Pardon me, I'm typing while I'm talking. They're filming while they're in the building. They're freaking out. They don't know what to do. And then they speak English briefly, and then the woman starts speaking Arabic. And I want my friend Mona to translate everything she says for me, because later we find out that this video comes out afterwards. First, there's a street interview. This Muslim woman is talking about losing her friends. And then this video comes out, and it might be the same or might be related. The woman who makes the video might be the person who eventually wound up, stuck and dead in the tower. And the woman giving the interview might very well be talking about the woman giving this video. So let me try to find this from inside Grenfell Tower. See if I can get this to come up. There it is. Again, I want to do a screen share. Okay. Okay, again, I'm gonna do a screen share. All right, here we go.
Okay, go open the front door. You're going to bring the smoke in. Okay. You're not going to be able to breathe. I'm scared maybe someone outside. They're in the other flats. Are you sure? They've gone into the other flat. Listen, you have no children. I'm standing near the door. The smoke is not going to help you. Okay. Yeah? Okay, just this. Oh, that's okay. Well, there's too much smoke here. You're not going to be. You're not going to feel. Okay. There's too much smoke here. Okay. Okay, I'm not opening it. الله لا إله إلا الله في حالنا في العمارة لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم يا الله. Hello, come here. Come here. Hello. Hello.
Now I'm going to pause the video right here because I just want to make note here. On the video on the right, there's split screen on this video, and you can see the burning tower. I want you to focus in the middle of the screen on the right side of the burning tower. There's a set of 3 windows, and then there's 1 window above it. So there's a group of 4. Okay, the window on the left, there's a person moving around in there. Again, could be CGI, could be added later. I don't know. I'm just saying there's yet another. And keep your eye on the windows. You might see some people moving around.
Come. Quick. What has happened? Who's missing? My friend.
So here's your street interview. My friend is missing. And apparently the woman in the building who took that video, apparently, from what I understand, Snapchatted that video. And that's how it managed to get out, because according to the story, I think she may have perished in this building fire. So listen.
I have 2 little girls. And what's your friend's name? Rania Ibrahim. And she's a 30-year-old mum with 2 small children. What floor has she been on? 23rd floor. Right. And you've been able to not contact her. She's made no contact with you. What was the last you heard of her?
I just saw her snap that saying that the whole building is burning, and then she's saying goodbye to everyone. She's praying in Arabic.
Can't really see it. It's all just smoke.
Yeah, it's all smoking.
She's taken this Snapchat. What time did she send that to you? At like 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
At 3 o'clock in the morning.
There's no tears.
Have you been able to get hold of any of the hospitals too?
There's no tears.
I'm very suspicious of this whole thing.
It is very suspicious because you can tell that the reporter is leading the question. She asked, what time did she, I'm going to back this up. She says, what time did she send you this? And before the girl answers, the reporter says 3 o'clock in the morning.
It's all smoking.
She's taken this Snapchat. What time did she send that to you? At like 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
At 3 o'clock in the morning, she sent you a Snapchat.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Have you been able to get hold of any of the hospitals to see?
Not yet.
Wow. So first of all, my first question is, if I'm in a high rise and it's burning, I'm not filming shit. I'm getting the hell out of there.
And then what? Snapchat?
I'm going to need both my hands free to grab my cats and whatever else I need to grab and get the hell out. I'm not filming and worrying about filming and narrating what's happening. Unbelievable. I'm not buying this story anymore. I'm going to look into it some more, but that's very suspicious.
Yeah.
It is. It's almost like a mini 9/11, you know? Like, you know what I mean? The people jumping out of windows and all of the rest of it. An insurance scam, right?
Yeah.
It's like a little mini 9/11. London had their own little mini one.
I guess somebody will have to see if there were actually any burials for alleged victims. If the list is released with all these names, you know, then we'll be able to
An
look
insurance
into their lives and see how you know, they'll all have a brand new Facebook
mini
page.
9/11. London had their own little mini one. Oh, somebody's got the show on.
Oh.
I don't know, man. If they could pull off New York car rampage, the Times Square car rampage, if they could pull that one off, they could pull off anything.
Yep. The world's going to be full of horrific tragedies that aren't even really happening, which it is already.
Well, they're getting better and better at pulling off their psyops, that's for sure.
Yeah, and what's really sad to me is the language of fake shootings. It's like the norm. Like everybody needs to know of fake shootings and how to respond in an active shooter situation. Like it's just the way of life now. Everybody just has to worry about an active shooter.
We got some people in the chat saying, let's see, Blue Blood says that my guess is the building was evacuated just prior to the showtime. Koi Mai says that was reported before the fire. And I'm not sure if Koi Mai is replying to Blue Blood. To be, Joanne says, to be fair, she did say her friend was saying goodbye. And then let's see, Illusion Shattered said earlier reports of explosions. Sandy Villarreal says the Times Square death was from her hometown in and I don't know what this is, and Walla, Washington. I don't know those abbreviations. What WA-LA? West. It was that. Do you mean West Los Angeles? I don't know. Times Square from her hometown. She had a brand new Facebook page. The woman sitting behind her looked as if she was her handler. Yeah, the black woman on the interview. So, Sandy, what are you talking about? The Times Square death was from your hometown. Could you clarify that for us before we get out of here? And yeah, Blue Blood, the building did use natural gas. I understand that there was like, what, a day or two, or was it a week, that there was some additional renovation to the gas lines, and people are saying some of the reports are that that the gas lines were, some of them, they used plastic lines. Did I hear that correct somewhere? Anybody else confirm that?
I haven't read that yet. I don't know anything about it.
Oh, thank you, Zach. I'm a dumbass. Voila, phonic spelling for voila. Voila.
Oh, voila.
Got it. Got it. Thank you. All right. So, where are we with that, Marv? Man, oh man, it's been a hell of a week. Oh, you know what else? On top of the week in the news and the week with the George Webb drama, last week my wife had a gun pointed at her during a road rage incident. Somebody cut her off, and then she sees this, you know, and I'm sorry to say it was a black guy, and green Honda, and she did get his license plate. She said he pulled his gun out and pointed it at her through his passenger window.
Great.
And then she pulled out her camera, and as soon as he saw her pull out her camera, he drops the gun and speeds off. Well, she eventually catches up to him, because here in Georgia, there's a ton of one-lane roads. You can't really get away very easily in many of the roads around here. And she said she caught up to him and got his license plate. And I said, "Are you going to file a report?" And she said, no. What are they going to do? And then she was like, "You know, I don't want them coming to the house taking a report." I'm like, "They're not going to come to the house. You can do this over the phone."
Right.
And then I told her a story, and I'll tell you guys the story. I used to carry, and I still do to some extent, a pile of change in my console. A lot of people do, right? You drop your loose change in your console, and you wind up with kind of a pile. Well, I got cut off by some woman many years ago, and my window was down, and I grabbed a handful of change, and I saw it coming from behind. I knew she was going to freaking get around me and cut me off the last second. I threw, a couple of pennies and nickels. I reached down to my console, grabbed some change, and chucked it out the window and hit her car. Well, she got back behind me, followed me to the Kroger shopping center, wrote my license plate number down. Later that evening, I get a phone call from the police department.
Oh, wow.
So I said, Nancy, you pick up that phone and you call the fucking police, or you go down to the local police station and you make a report. Because you got his license plate at the very least. And this is what the cop told me on the phone, because it wasn't like capital crime. They weren't going to come arrest me for what I did. Cop said, I got this report. He says, did you throw a chunk of metal at this woman? And I told him what I did. I said, yeah, she cut me off. I threw some change. And he says, well, blah, 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 blah. Bottom line is we have you on record. Don't do it again.
Right. Yeah.
So, okay. Bottom line, you got me on record. If I do it again, you're going to, probably come get me. Right. So, hey, Nancy got this guy's license plate. I made sure that she went and made a report.
Yeah, that's good, because if he pulls a gun someday on somebody and then shoots them, then you have record that he's wielding this gun at people.
Exactly. There's a record of this man and his history. Sure.
Not a one-off. Wow. Scary.
You never know. He might have a warrant out for his arrest already. Right?
Exactly. Exactly.
He might not supposed to be
doing some good
on this person.
He's out on the street.
Yeah, by reporting him, she might be preventing him from hurting someone in the future.
Yep.
Okay.
Someone going around waving a gun around.
But tell her not to follow people like that again.
Yeah, no kidding. No kidding.
You guys got pretty lax gun laws there in Georgia, though, right? There.
Got what?
Pretty lax gun laws. You can open carry.
Oh, yeah. In fact, Kennesaw, Georgia, if I'm not mistaken, it's actually, and Zach Hawkins might be able to help me with this one. I think it's actually required that you have a gun in the house. I think it's actually by law that you have to have a gun in Kennesaw.
Wow, it makes so much sense, doesn't it?
So anyway, Sandy Villarreal, who was talking about her friend from the Times Square incident, has just said, I saved her Facebook information. Bizarre. It even said it was created in 2017 with no family photos, no family history. I don't know any 18-year-old that has any 18-year-old that had such little personal family information. That's exactly right, Sandy.
Yeah, especially that age. They have all kinds of pictures. There'd be archives of them.
Yeah, PRS just said, I noticed the same thing with many of the Sandy Hook families and friends. Facebook pages were brand new.
Yeah, I see it all the time.
Well, looks things, we should have had Sandy come on. She's just right on the dot tonight here.
So Sandy just said, yeah, it's in capital letters, it's not my friend. So what are you trying to say? That it's not your friend that made the page, or I mean, what are you trying to say, Sandy? And hurry up, because we're hitting our 3-hour mark. We're going to shut it down here in a minute. So try to clarify that for us, please. And in the meantime, I want to say thanks to everybody, especially Robin, for filling in the spot. We had an empty space tonight. Poor Miss Amy had to leave out because of a headache.
My pleasure.
Yeah, thanks for coming by.
Zach Hawkins just confirmed, yeah, it's an old law that you must own a gun if you own property. Not enforced, though, and Kennesaw has one of the lowest records of gun violence in the country.
Yeah, I love that story. I think I remember that from like a couple of years ago. I came across that. It's pretty amazing.
Oh, okay. Sorry, Sandy. I said it was your friend. She was not your friend, just from Kalamazoo. That's all. Okay.
Oh, Robin, I guess you're kind of a bridge right now, aren't you?
What do you mean? A bridge?
You're sort of at a crossroads right now, aren't you? With your channel and everything. Like, what mood for you? Like,
I have to wait 2 weeks.
because you don't want to lose your main channel, right?
Of course I don't. Nobody wants to lose their
You
channel.
have to start all over with that too. So
Yep, I've done it before. I'll do it again if I have to. You know, they're not gonna. It's not like all the information I've been putting out is lost. You know, people share videos. People learn from them, and they keep that information in their mind. They know. And I have my VidMe channel, and I've got a lot of videos on there. Not 700 like I do on my main channel, but you know, that's the most sickening thing about these people who attack channels. I mean, my channel covers a lot of different things, and you know, who would not want the world to know these things? You know, just to protect one little stupid Sandy Hook lie, they would kill tons of other very important information that is helping people. That's what really irritates the shit out of me. It's just terrorism.
it is.
People are terrorists, you know.
Yep.
Sandra M. Texiera, I hope I pronounced that correctly. Sandra just said that to you, Robin, she said people are afraid of your truth bomb.
People are afraid of my truth bomb.
Yeah, they really work, she says. And I agree, they
people
do.
respond to them.
They do work. They've even mentioned them on the mainstream news, haven't they?
Yeah, they have.
Yeah. So it has an effect, definitely. Kudos to you.
Okay. Greatest potential.
Okay.
Greatest
Well,
potential
anyway,
said
show's over. Flat Earthers are here. Let's go. Let's get out of here.
Listen. The greatest potential said the Earth isn't flat, and then Blue Blood Guitar said Earth is a box of chocolates. And Bert Trim, I love this guy. He's such a smart ass. He cracks me up. He says the Earth is flat broke.
Flat.
Best comment all night, Bert. Good one.
That was good.
So Marie T, Sandra M, I hope you didn't think I was mocking you. I hope that was a joke. I didn't mock you. I love you. Free Beth, Mike, Greatest Potential, new people, Joanne, Broadsword, all kinds of new people tonight. Thank you for your contributions. We really, really appreciate it. Zach Hawkins, Sandy, if I already mentioned. PRS, haven't seen you. You're kind of new, I think. Really, really appreciate the crowdsourcing, the extra information we get. I learn more from the people who watch the show than I do from my own research sometimes. Illusion Shattered, Jonathan, Koi Mai, several new faces in here tonight. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. We are going to wrap this up. Thank you, Robin.
Thanks, Aaron, Ian. Thanks, everybody.
I'm sorry about your channel. We'll all be waiting impatiently for your new videos when your channel gets back up and going. You're still running? Are you still going to be uploading on your backup channel?
Well, I have the Sandy Hook, HowISee Sandy Hook 2 channel, and then I have my VidMe channel. I'll just put videos on VidMe, and then when my channel is okay in 2 weeks, I'll just put them over on my new channel. I mean, on my current channel when I can. It'll be all right. And if they kill it, I'll just make a new one. Just the way it works. Just the way it has to be.
All right. Well, we're out of here, you guys. Love you. See you next week.
Okay. Take care, guys.
Thanks, guys. See you next time.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Take us out, Ian.
Bye, guys. See you next Friday.
Hey, I don't know if you can still hear me, but I just got a signal on my computer. Internet Explorer has stopped working, so I don't know how this is going to work out. We're just going to roll with it. Go for it. See you next week, everybody.
See you later.